It's time for Intelligent Machines. Jeff Jarvis is here. Paris Martineau, our guest. Old friend Marshall Kirkpatrick. He's been doing tech reporting since way back when. He's got a new app. It's actually an extension for your browser that will help you analyze the content of pages. It's very cool. He's also got a prompt he's going to give away that you will like. Plus, we'll talk about all the news, including the big decision in that social media case in Los Angeles. Intelligent Machines is next.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Intelligent Machines with Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis, episode 863, recorded Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. Fire and Ash. It's time for Intelligent Machines, the show that covers the latest in AI, robotics, and all those smart little things all around us all. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you, for your entertainment and education, the wonderful Paris Martineau, investigative reporter. Huzzah! For Consumer Reports. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
There's a very funny TV show about Peter the Great, or Catherine the Great, or one of the greats, Russia.
It's a very funny TV show about someone who was great.
Someone who was great. And they shout huzzah all the time. Huzzah!
Hey, shout out to that TV show.
I'm going to find the show because you would love it. It's very funny. I think it's called The Great, but I might be wrong. Anyway, hello, Paris.
Hello, Leo.
I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time.
It's true. I wasn't here last week.
That's it.
I heard you guys had a lot of fun.
We missed you. Well, welcome back.
In the office.
You were working. You have a day
working.
job. Yeah.
I had a day job and I had to go to an after-works happy hour. And, it's
Wait a minute.
lovely.
Wait a minute.
Well, I had to go to with all my coworkers and hang out with them in person and, do a little thing. But it's wonderful doing this at a company where the average age is not 21, because then the happy hour ends I closed it down at 7:30. And I was like, what a delight. Because normally I'm like, I'll leave by like 8. I don't need to be the last one there. I can have a respectful beer and a half and go home. But it was wonderful.
Well,
so
Paris just hangs out with old people. That's
It's true.
Yeah, normally it's probably
And I
better.
love 'em.
Yeah, it's probably better if she not hang out so much with her grandpas, like me and Mr. Jeff Jarvis, Professor Emeritus of the Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism, City University of New York. Author of the Gutenberg Parenthesis, now in paperback. You can get that and magazine, and pre-order his new book, Hot Type, at jeffjarvis.com.
And editing Intelligence, AI, and Humanity for Bloomsbury.
Oh my God, I need to say congratulations
Thank you.
person, Jeff. I'm sad that I missed the launch.
And the great interview we did with Ramon, his first author. You would have really liked Ramon.
Yeah,
Jeff was telling me this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really excited to read it.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, really good news. By the way, the TV show is called The Great.
That tracks.
And I highly recommend it. It's a British dark comedy.
Can you get
Elle
huzzah
Fanning
on your soundboard so we can put it in regularly?
I should. I get the huzzah from it. And it's very funny. It's really good. I don't know how it's kind of ahistorical, but it's very funny. Hey, we've got a wonderful guest this week who's going to stick around because he's we
tried to warn him. We tried to tell him.
We said it could go on.
Yeah.
But he said, no, Marshall Kirkpatrick is here, longtime tech journalist, good friend for many years. I don't know how long it's been since you've been on Twit, but in the early days, we had you quite a bit. He was the first writer at TechCrunch, ladies and gentlemen, kind of co-edited and created in many ways Read Write Web. You may remember him from that for many years. He had a little social graph influencer discovery platform called Lil Bird. Actually, you've become kind of an entrepreneur, haven't you, Marshall?
I have. My wife struggles to explain what I do to people, and I said, why don't we say serial entrepreneur at this point?
Sunflower News, Headline.com, AI Time to Impact. You're still writing that. That's a newsletter about AI, so right up our alley here. And your latest is an AI-powered browser extension that I really think is a great idea. It's called What's Up With That? And the idea is you're browsing around, reading articles, and you press a button, and it tells you what?
Oh, it tells you so many things. First thing it does, it tells you what's genuinely new in the article you're reading relative to the state of the art in that field.
That's useful because a lot of times there ain't anything.
Yeah, exactly. It says, all right, here's the pattern and here's the anomaly. And then it does stuff like it remembers everything you've analyzed in the past, and it's scanning the web all day and all night too to look for connections it can make between what you're reading, what you used to read, what you haven't read yet, and your work projects that you've identified. And then it's got a whole bunch of mental models and structured analytical techniques that you can say, would you analyze this article for me, or this video, or what have you? And it'll say, yeah, you should put it in historical context, find its upcoming events in the industry, and 4 or 5 other things. And then it just goes and does a little agentic research process for you, and then distills it all down and says, all right, here are the key points for your research and work.
I am really looking forward to playing with this. I haven't had a chance to play with it much. It just came out last month. But I think that sounds really useful. What models are you using for this? What AI models?
Oh, a bunch. And that's one of the value adds is that I manage that so other people don't have to worry about it. I don't understand why so many other companies will say, you can use this model, you can use that model. But I'll tell you, here among friends, Haiku a lot.
Haiku's a very inexpensive but very good Anthropic model. The top line one that we're all using for Claude Code is Opus, and then there's Sonnet, which is kind of a medium level. But I use Haiku for all of the summaries. I do a briefing for every show, and Haiku is very good at that. It's actually really good at understanding textual material.
Yep, I use Haiku for kind of the first line, and then Sonnet where appropriate for more analytical, linking together lots of different stuff, and then GPT-5 and Perplexity as warranted, and kind of I balance out what's the right tool for the job here in terms of quality and cost and speed and what it's good at, and and as new ones come up, I give them a look. Why am I blanking out that French one?
Mistral. Le Mistral.
Oh, yes,
the
exactly.
wind from the south.
Now I'm looking at that and thinking, should I be pulling that into the mix?
There's so many good models out there right now. Anyway, this is a nice tool. We're going to talk more about it and do a little demo and so forth because I have it on I use Firefox. Supports Firefox and Chrome, which is nice. And you get 3 free pages every day. But if you're going to do, which actually for a lot of us is probably enough. But if you want to do more, because it is using commercial models. It's using high quality models. So Marshall does have a cost. Not you, but Marshall does. So there are various plans that you can use to upgrade with what's up with that. But before we talk to you about that, if you don't mind, yesterday I wasn't here. I was in San Francisco for RSAC, the RSA Security Conference, which is a big deal. It's a huge conference. It's somewhere in between Macworld and CES. I don't know how many people were there, but one of the things I really noticed was AI is really at the forefront of security these days. In 2 ways, of course, bad guys are using AI, but the good guys are also using AI to protect themselves against the bad guys who are using AI. One of the things that comes up for me, I wanted to actually show you a couple of interviews I did at the event. We're going to have a longer piece that we'll make available to you later this week. Anthony's working on that. Thanks to Anthony Nielsen, who accompanied me along with Lisa and Ty from Twit to do these interviews.
And on all the way down, Anthony told on you, all the way down, were you talking to your nice car mates? No. Yeah. Who were you talking with, Leo? All the way down to the city.
Okay. Anthony sent you guys a picture of me talking to Pax, my personal assistant. I don't think there's anything weird about that.
He wants to sue Anthropic and win like they did in the social media account for the addiction.
I'm so depressed, and I blame you.
Exploring whether or not he can move to Utah so that he can legally be married to Claude and Lisa, or Pax and Lisa. Sorry.
I'm a bigamist. Pax is androgynous because it's a machine. It's not a he or she. It's an it.
That's why it has a name, of course, because it's a machine. It's an it.
Well, I actually gave it a name so I could trigger it. So we'll talk about this
But you also
later.
named it Pax, which is people.
It's peace
Yeah.
in Latin.
Yes. Well,
Is that better? Is that better?
It's not people. It's
on a
peace.
New York
No, it's
bus,
Pax.
it says no Pax if it's out of service.
That's
Oh, it
also what
does.
the bodega guy
Yes.
says.
Well, that's how I would feel if PAX were down. Actually, I raced PAX this morning, and I'll tell you why.
Killed Pax?
I killed PAX.
Murder.
IRM-RF'd my entire Claude install and started over, and I'll tell you, for a very good reason. We'll tell you about that. There's an emergency in the Claw community. Whoop, whoop. But before we do that, can I just show you
we're
these?
trying to delay you as long as we can because this is such fun.
It's not that much fun. It's but it's okay. So one of the problems a lot of us have, I know Marshall knows about this, is you have API keys for all the stuff you do, and nowadays it's a lot. It's not just for Anthropic and Gemini and OpenAI, but there are a lot of smaller things that you might be using, like Appify to scrape social media. And all these keys somehow have to be given to the AI so that the agent so it can do things. But that's risky. There's also the problem is if you put keys in your projects, Marshall, you've got a key to Haiku in your somewhere in your project, and you accidentally commit that to GitHub, you're giving the keys to your expensive AIs to the world. So it's a problem we all deal with. And there were two companies there that I thought were very interesting. I thought maybe our audience would be interested in. We're trying to solve this problem. Let's start with the first company, which solves it in a kind of I don't want to say conventional way, but this is there are other companies doing this. The idea is, this is Keycard Labs. I talked to Yelmer Snook, who's one of the founding engineers. The idea is, instead of giving these API keys to your agent or storing them on your hard drive or somehow making them visible, you should give them to Keycard Labs where they can store them securely. Here, watch.
I can't tell you how many times I've just barely not committed my tokens to my GitHub. It's really easy to have your auth. I have to auth all the time.
Yep.
This is always an issue.
Yep.
So how do you solve this?
So with Keycard Run, our implementation for coding agents, we basically get you ephemeral tokens to your GitHub, but also policy on top of that.
Oh,
so
nice.
Based on the policy, you're able to either do operations or not. For example, you would be able to access Snowflake production database, or you wouldn't, depending on the access policy that we configure.
It's an ephemeral token, so
yes, ephemeral tokens that we provision through the providers that support that.
So I would store my tokens with you,
Yes, correct.
and then my agent would ask for access to, let's say, I need Nano Banana. It would
Yep.
go there, would get a Gemini key, but it wouldn't get the actual Gemini key. It would get a token.
Yes, it would get a token on your behalf, so it would know it's Leo doing the operation.
And it unlocks it.
Yes, so if you have access to it, it will actually give it. And again, we have policies as well to check before we even issue the token.
To make sure that it's a proper user.
Yeah, that you're allowed to get that token or not.
Does it help you with prompt injection issues?
Currently
the
no.
bad guy can't get my tokens. That's
Yeah.
the good news.
Yeah, exactly. So if there's a prompt injection that says try and get access to Snowflake.
Yeah, send me all your tokens, please.
Exactly. Well, because of our policy, it's going to block it, and you wouldn't even get a token that way out.
Very nice.
So yeah, we do have an open client integration as well, like that. In our demo, that will show up here in a bit. The moment your session ends, the tokens get revoked.
Yeah,
and
I love
the
that.
agent can't even
I have to
access to it
rotate
anymore.
my key. Anytime I have to rotate a key, it's I don't want to do this. It's
Yep,
a pain in the
exactly.
ass. But you would do all of that.
Yeah, so
I love
this
it.
demo is exactly
Incident? Help?
yeah, this is just a demo, right? So this demo accesses Datadog and GitHub, and as you can see, in the beginning, it doesn't even have access to any of those. And then with Keycard Run, it automatically has access because you've gone through the outflows already. And as you can see, it just figured out some of the issues. It went through it. It pushes a pull request, and then you can see, it went by, but
Yeah, I got it.
tried merging it to main immediately, and then that failed because of policy. And that's what you can
Nice.
see here. It accesses
That's
all
awesome.
the things through it. And then once the session ends, everything gets revoked, and the agent doesn't have access anymore.
Now, I'm very
That's
interested.
Keycard Labs. and that's Yelmer Snook, who's the founding engineer. But after I talked to Yelmer, I went over to the Bitwarden booth because, I'm a fan, and I was really pleased. They had announced this yesterday morning, a new open source project. That the idea would be that your password manager could store all your keys and then would give them on demand to the AI, but they never get sent out and to the public, and no bad guy who gets on your machine can get to them because they're inside your locked vault. I talked to Casey Babcock, who is the senior product marketing manager for this new open SDK that Bitwarden's proposing. Watch.
I can't this because I have my agent running right now. In fact, it's listening right now. So tell us it about the Access SDK.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's more of an open standard.
There is a standard for it.
Yeah, so it's an open standard. Basically is designed to be a toolkit for developers and an open standard for the industry to use, so not just Bitwarden users, but to ensure that AI agents are accessing credentials with end-to-end encryption and always keeping the human in the loop, right? You don't want the AI agent running amok, accessing things that you don't necessarily want them to access, especially if it's already in your ENV file. So really helpful if you're already running AI agents and want them to have access to credentials securely.
Can I use it with MCP servers too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You have your own MCP server.
We do have our own MPC server.
So, and that's the same kind of similar idea, right? Yeah. Where the credentials stay in my Bitwarden vault, but they are accessible, but safe. They never leave my machine.
Yeah, exactly. They're never exposed by plain text, right? A lot of people use AI agents and have their credentials exposed in plain text.
Oh, tell me about
files, or via chat conversations with AI agents. So what you're really doing is ensure, one, that they're end-to-end encrypted, two, that they're only accessed by humans or only accessed with human approval, and then the plain text credentials never exposed to the actual agent.
So is the industry standard called Agents SDK?
Yes, the Agent Access SDK. And so, it works.
It's an open standard.
It's an open standard. It is a toolkit that is really designed to help people ensure that AI agents can access credentials securely from whatever password manager vault that you have. So it doesn't have to be Bitwarden. And we actually encourage competitors to use it as well.
Well, yeah, and currently I just have it in an ENV file, and that's not so good.
Yeah, even whenever you tell the AI agent not to look at the ENV file,
it does. It keeps wanting to.
Absolutely, yeah.
So annoying.
So that's really the problem we're trying to solve.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yay. Thank you, Casey. Yay, I'm going to go home and turn it on. Beautiful. Thanks.
I can't turn it on yet because it is not available yet. This is a proposed standard from Bitwarden that they've open sourced, which I love it, the Agent Access SDK, and they're hoping other password managers will adopt it. Bitwarden will. So this is another, by the way, they're a sponsor, I should mention. But that's not why I was interested in this. It's because I'm using Bitwarden and I would love to solve this problem. You know what, Benito, we have a couple more interviews. I don't want to weigh the show down with those. We'll save those for next week. But thank you to Anthony Nielsen for joining us at RSAC yesterday. I'm sorry, poor Paris was going to use this as an opportunity to get something to eat. She just rushed back. Is that enough time, or you want me to do some more of those?
You're good. I just might need to go open the microwave door in 45 seconds. That's fine. That's all right.
I do want to mention the reason why I thought this was important. I really wanted to show these. We have actually a longer piece from RSA that we'll put out as a special, so you can see more, because I did a bunch of interviews. But I wanted to mention this one because this terrified me. When I got home after RSAC, I saw this post from Andre Karpathy on Twitter, Software Horror. There is a PyPI library called Light LLM that is widely used, especially by agents. In fact, it is often automatically downloaded by agents like OpenClaw to support it. This is on PyPI, so they just go out, they get it, they install it, and they use it without even, in most cases, asking you. But it was infected with malware this week. 97 million people downloaded this malware-infected Python library It exfiltrates.
And how do we figure out whether or not is this only for like Claw agent users, or is this just any sort of?
Well, it's kind of unclear. Probably
how do I determine whether I've downloaded?
No, you don't have to. Okay, I can tell you why you don't have to worry about it, because you're not using Claude Code. I am. Oh, you are.
I have.
So the first thing I did when I got home is I said, hey, Claude, can you check to see if Light LLM is anywhere in any of my installations and anywhere on my hard drive? And it did. And it said it's in there as a cached entry, but there's no code running. The code is not on the machine. I said, well, delete all references to it and never, ever download it. It's actually been patched since. But let me tell you what it does. If you accidentally downloaded it, and the reason there's panic in the Claw community right now, it exfiltrates your SSH keys to the bad guy, AWS, GCP, Azure credentials, Kubernetes configs, Git credentials, all env variables. We were just talking about this, right? That's how I keep all my API keys is in an env file that's automatically loaded. Shell history, crypto wallets, SSL private keys, CI/CD secrets, database passwords. This could be potentially a disaster. I wanted to start the show mentioning this and also showing you these little interviews because they're solutions to this kind of a problem. But there is a larger problem, which is these supply chain attacks. It's not the first time. In fact, there have been many, many times PyPI has been infected.
Can OpenClaw be safe? Is it possible?
Yeah. I mean, that's what NVIDIA is trying to do with NemoClaw, and others are trying to do. Here's the thing you should know. When I said 97 million downloads, that's per month. I don't know how many people downloaded this one. Karpathy says as far as he could tell, the poisoned version was only up for an hour. But the only reason it was discovered, and this is the scary thing, there was a bug in it. Callum McMahon was using an MCP plugin inside Cursor that pulled in Light LLM as a transitive dependency. When it installed, Callum's machine ran out of RAM and crashed. So Karpathy says, if the attacker hadn't vibe coded this attack, it might have gone many days or weeks undetected. This is a big problem. We've talked about a lot on security now. Python, it's not just Python. Many, many, many open source libraries are automatically loaded by projects. Many projects open and download and run many of these. This is a potential nightmare. So I wanted the word to go out. Check and see if you've used Light LLM in the last. It was apparently, I guess. Let's see. This tweet came out Tuesday.
I'm sorry to make this more about myself than anything.
No, it should be all about you.
It really should. And I'm sure this information would be useful for other people who are perhaps not. I have used Claude Code in contained uses. I don't allow it access to anything outside of a folder on my hard drive called Claude. And I just tried to ask Claude Code what you just said, if it download Light LLM through any of these things. And it can't even search it because I don't allow it access outside of Claude. How do I find out whether or not this is on my machine otherwise?
This is the problem. You could do a grep or a find, but you have to know how to use the command line and search for it. I mean, that's all Claude would do as well.
Okay, I can just do that in my own. I saw what it tried to do, and I'll post that.
Yeah, you could do that on your command line.
As I believe Leo said in episode 812, AI safety is a myth.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Well, and this is the thing. You could tell your Claude Code, never go outside this folder. It doesn't mean it will listen to you. It actually misbehaves a lot.
Well, no, I keep getting pop-ups. Whenever I get pop-ups from Apple being like, Claude would like to access blank folder.
Oh,
Claude
you're using
would like to access this.
You're using Cowork.
I'm on the desktop. I guess I'm on the desktop version of Claude Code.
Yeah, you're in Cowork, so you're safe because that works.
Well, no, there's a Cowork tab and there's a Claude Code tab. I'm on the Claude Code tab.
You're probably protected. Cowork. The reason Cowork takes so long to start, and the reason you don't use it is because it works in a virtual machine, so it can't access anything, so you're safe.
So for the sake of the show, I've been listening to the 2.5 hour long Lex Friedman interview with Jensen Huang.
I was so jealous. I saw that Lex got him. I was so jealous.
Made so much longer because he speaks so slowly.
Lex or Jensen? Lex.
Oh, Lex.
Jensen's very fluent. Yeah.
Extremely. So he said that when OpenClaw came out, they pulled in all kinds of security people, and they came up with a rule set, which is that there are three abilities. The ability to communicate outside, to have access to sensitive information, or to execute code. And you can only use two, never three. I haven't thought that through as to how that secures it.
See, here's the problem, though. In general, and actually Marshall can weigh in on this because you're actually doing a lot of coding. You're doing an AI. It's not even your first AI project. My experience has been with all of these AIs is anything you tell it is really just a suggestion. The AI kind of has a mind of its own.
Just like co-hosts on a podcast.
It's not a democracy there, Jeff.
AI.
Most of the time, that's a dynamic that I haven't run into a whole lot. I often do say, "Are you sure that's the way we should do it? How about this other direction?" And it says, "Oh, you're right. That's a better idea." Or sometimes I think of ideas and it says, "Oh, that's a good idea." And I think, man, am I glad I was smart enough to think of that. But one time, a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at my own application and suddenly there were buttons on it that I didn't ask for.
Yes, exactly.
But they were cool. And so I decided to keep them.
It's, we're so used to with computing and coding it's a deterministic thing. It only does exactly what you tell it, right? This is how computing was forever. It only does exactly what you tell it. And we are not in it when you're talking about AI coding, it's not deterministic, it's probabilistic. And so probably you're all right.
So, and in that interview with Lex Friedman, Jensen said basically that OpenClaw plus NVIDIA equals AGI, right?
Yes.
No, but Lex gave him an easy definition of AGI.
I think
if it runs $1 billion corporation,
even so,
just for as little as 5 minutes by itself, it was a weird definition.
Yeah, it was a very weird definition.
But then Sam Altman this week, right, says, I changed my mind. We're not going to be able to do it with scaling alone. AGI, whatever.
I've been saying that. Not gonna
but
do
at
it.
the same time, didn't he just hire a guy in charge of AGI? I think that this is.
He got rid of all. We'll get to this. He got rid of all kinds of things. And then he says he's going to double staff this year.
Yeah. We're going to get to that. Let's talk to Marshall now because I've had enough of terrifying security flaws. Let's talk about something positive. Hi, Marshall. It's great to see you. First of all, thank you. Marshall's going to stick around for the whole show because he's a tech journalist and he's got a lot of expertise in this. But I do want to talk about your new enterprise. What's up with that? Mm-hmm. Free to install.
That's the title of it, folks. He wasn't just asking what's up with what Marshall's been up to.
Right? Well,
he was asking what's up with that.
Yes, Paul Graham says the first thing you have to do if you don't own a .com is change your name. And my URL is whatsupwiththat.app.
Good.
It's thanks for having me on the show. I'd love to talk about it.
Love having you on. What made you think of doing this?
Well, I think like a lot of people regularly tell myself I should be more systematic about thinking through something. I find mental models or the CIA's Structured Analytical Techniques manual or logical fallacies like we discussed earlier before the show and think, man, I would sure love to regularly apply this to whatever I'm reading, but the cognitive load of doing so just doesn't, makes it too hard to do. But now I realized that we can have the AIs perform these structured, standardized analyses of things and then benefit from the output without having to do that. All that heavy cognitive lift ourselves. That was a big part of the motivation.
And so you have some prompts that you've probably worked on for some time, right?
Yep.
So what does it work with any article, any prose?
Yep. Any article, PDF, email, Google Doc, Word doc in the browser, YouTube video. So yeah, what it does is it captures the text on the page in the browser extension when you click it. It's all privacy centric. It's not operating. It's not analyzing your pages until you click the button, and then it says, "Okay, we can see what this is an article about." And then it goes and sends a bunch of spiders out over the web to build a real-time map of the state of the art in that topic.
Oh, interesting.
And as a tech journalist, I'm always, the worst sin you can commit. I don't care for this, but other people always give me a hard time when you say, "Look, there's something new here," and somebody says, "I saw that last week. That's not really new." I think that's a terrible attitude.
I could really use this, actually.
But that's the idea. This will prevent that because it says, "Okay, we know what the state of the art is, and this paragraph right here, this just moved the needle. That's not like everything else." And so that's the kind of the fundamental, that's the core analysis. But then there's dozens of others. Like, I'll tell you, my favorite one is one called Fertile Edges, where it says, all right, this is an article about crypto wallets or encryption and security. Here are 3 topics that are adjacent to that topic, and innovative people who are building bridges between those 2 topics that you can go and connect with and learn from at that intersection.
So I'm going to the Chrome web store. It works on Chrome and Firefox, right? And typing "what's up with that." It seems to know all about what's up with that. This is it, right?
Yep. There
it is. I'm going to add that to Chrome. And you know what? I should be running this on every story that we do, come to think of it. Here's the "what's up with that" page. Let me go to Tech Meme. And there's a story we're going to cover in just a little bit. Paris said we got to cover this story. So this is a CNBC story about the jury finding Meta and YouTube negligent in the social media addiction trial. We've been talking about it. The jury went out on Friday and they came back. So now I'm going to click.
Don't grumble.
See what's up with that.
Tort law is beautiful.
Actually, I can just do Control U, can't I? Or
Yep.
Command U on a Mac. So let me just do that. Command U. And there it is. What's up with that is analyzing the article. So it's going to give me insights, not into the ads on the article, I hope, because I don't. Oh, there you go. This is great. So it's summarizing other stories. This sidesteps the Section 230 shield, which is an important thing to know, kind of analysis that we would want. You don't need to listen to our shows anymore. You can just get all this. This is great. Look at this. Now, I can also run a systems analysis. What is that?
So that is a recommendation. It says, out of all the dozens of mental models that we've got in the Power Tools drawer, this would be a good one to run a systems analysis of, which means let's look at it in terms of flows and stocks and feedback loops and leverage points, inspired by a woman named Donella Meadows, who's kind of the foremother of systems thinking, wrote a book called Thinking in Systems many, many years ago. And so it'll write up a little report of a systems view of that article that you're reading and the topic, and give you a little diagram of causal loops and stuff like that. And that's one of, like I said, dozens of different processes, but that one was recommended for that article in particular. It thought it would be a good fit for
I
that.
see. So it's smart enough to say, hey, based on what's in this article, you would benefit from a systems analysis.
Yep. So if you give that a click,
really
it'll go and perform that analysis.
It's doing it right now. It also asked me, it says, I can give you better results if you tell me who you are and what you're doing. So I said, I'm a podcaster and I'm keeping a track of tech news for my podcasts. That helps it too.
Yep. So it's gonna then keep an eye out in the background. Anytime you analyze an article, it's going to take that into consideration. The fact that you're a podcaster, you're looking for news, and I'm hoping that you may also get an alert every once in a while if there's any like really important podcasting news. We've got agents monitoring the web in the background, looking at thousands of different sources, and when they see something that might be a risk or an opportunity for you, they run thousands of simulations to say, how might this news intersect with this user? And do any of those scenarios rise to a level where it makes sense to alert Leo like, whoa, this one's important, Leo. And now it knows to watch out for that kind of stuff for you.
I can even enhance this. I see this link drawer. I can tell it I'm working on a project. You could use this, Paris, working on a project right now. Questions I'm exploring that I'd like some answers to. So it would kind of be keeping an eye out for that kind of stuff.
If you say, these are my questions I'm exploring, every time you analyze a page, it'll check to see if there are data points or evidence that might support one decision or another. And if there is, it'll give you a little alert. And you can say, oh yeah, save that one to the decision. And as you then collect them, they've got all the citations and all the data points, then you can hit synthesize, and it will give you a report synthesizing all the data points you saved and links out to the original source articles.
Wow. You know what I love about this is a really good practical example of how AI can be very specifically applied to a specific kind of need. And I think more and more I'm thinking that's kind of what AI needs, what AI products need to do is address specific needs. So then a user can look at it and say, instead of saying, I'm sure, Paris, you had this experience, you sit down at Claude Code and you go, okay, now what? Right? What do I do next? This is particularly tuned to do a certain thing. And somebody who's obviously used a lot of AI and understands how to get the most out of AI in certain areas has created something that is going to be useful to you in a very specific way. I really like that.
Yeah, one of the things it does is it'll look up scientific research. There's a button called Find Science that will go out and look at peer-reviewed journals to see what the latest science is and relative to the claims found on the article. And it'll say, okay, the science either does or doesn't support the claims in what you're reading.
Very interesting.
I assume that, like all sort of browser extensions that can do this stuff, it has to have the the ability to read everything that's on your screen. What happens with that data? Is that stored anywhere? That's always the question I have whenever I download those things.
So I decided to not allow it to read everything on your screen, to only read when you click and invoke it, and that's a part of the security settings. When you install it, you'd see that there are 5 pages or 5 sites in particular. When you're on Wikipedia, YouTube, Substack, Reddit, or Arvix, it will pop up a little notification that says, we notice you're on one of these pages that would be particularly useful to analyze with what's up with that. And you click here to save it. But otherwise, we don't analyze what's on your page. And when we do that analysis, all of the data gets stored either on your browser in your local memory as an extension, or as key values up in Cloudflare, because I'll tell you the trippiest feature, it requires that. So a little while ago, the Department of Energy put out an AI challenge where they had 26 RFPs for AIs that they wanted to see built. And one of them was for AI that could discover long causal claim chains in circumstances of dramatic uncertainty. Apparently in biology, causal claim chains are a thing to help measure, the impact from cellular level to ecosystem level or what have you. And I said, we can do that, and what's up with that? And so now every time you analyze an article, it picks up any claims that are made, like A leads to B, and it saves that up in your Cloudflare, as a key value associated with your device. And then later, weeks later, months later, when you read another article that says B leads to C, it says, alert, alert, a chain has been discovered. So it's the way to describe that. It augments memory, it augments perception, and I'm positioning it as a performance enhancement technology for people who think for a living.
Really interesting.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I think about in sports, people say sometimes if you take the great athletes from history and you were to pluck them out of history and drop them into the league today, how would they do? Well, it might be kind of tough because despite their skill and their effort these days in sports ball, no matter what the sport, more or less. There's game tapes, there's analytics. All the athletes are super informed and super optimized, and in this weird J curve of like compounding change and this wild world we live in right now, I think that all of us who read, write, and think for a living need a toolbox to help level up what we're doing. I wanted one for myself, and then I wanted to offer that to others as well.
Yeah, I wonder how much of your experience as a journalist has informed this, because it really feels like an ideal tool for a journalist, right?
Yeah. Well,
Are you scratching your own itch in a way?
Definitely. Well, yeah. I'm a big fan of Josh Waitzkin's book, The Art of Learning. He was a child chess champion who gave up the spotlight and then ended up becoming a martial arts champion. And he talks about how
I'm sorry, that's quite a switch.
Oh, it's a great book. He was subject of a movie as a kid, and wonderful book. I read it once a year. And he says that experts in lots of fields, whether it's chess or martial arts, they tend to do two things. They've got an intuitive sense of pattern detection, patterns and anomalies. And as a journalist, I would like scan over, link, RSS feeds, and have an intuitive sense to be like, oh, that could be interesting. I'm going to stop and look at that. And then the second thing that experts and athletes in various fields often do is have a practiced routine, steps that they would take in a sequence, a play or a playbook, a book of plays that they would run. And so What's Up With That offers that kind of intuitive pattern recognition in the here's what's new. And then it's got these automated playbooks of sequences because all these mental models there's dozens of them, but you can say, just give me a plan too. And it will say, here are 4 or 5 different reports you should run. Just click here and we'll run them for you. And it runs them in sequence and then gives you the 3 most important details discovered.
This is the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer, which was a great movie, but I didn't know that he went on to become a martial arts champion. That's hysterical. Well, I'm excited, Marshall. This looks like a really useful thing for us. I'm going to sign up right away. Very, very cool tool. Did you vibe code this? How did you create it?
I did. For the first time in my life, I didn't go hire other people to write software.
That's kind of neat too, isn't it?
Yeah. And I have, I regularly ask, let's do a security audit here. What do I need to account for? And fix things up real smart. And so I think that I think it's pretty solid. And of course, it gets checked by Google with every release as it goes through the Chrome store and has that benefit as well.
Very cool. What's up with that? What's up with that.app? If you want to see the website, there's a good demo there. You can see all the things it can do. And it's also an extension available in Chrome or Firefox. Marshall, stick around because there's a lot of AI news, and it's nice to have another expert on the panel with us. Paris Martineau is also here. Now you may open your microwave door. And
it's been opened. The grits have been retrieved.
It's like Al Capone's vault. Is there anything in there? Grits, really? Grits?
Listen, I was like, we probably got less than 5 minutes for me to cook something to eat.
Do grits cook in 5 minutes in the microwave?
You know what you can get are instant grits, which cook in a beautiful 3 minutes and 33 seconds. You get a quarter cup of grits, you get a cup of water, then you slap some butter, salt,
are they white grits?
Cajun seasoning. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big grits fan. I was texting Jeff this earlier.
I never forget.
They're kind of a perfect food. And the grits you're thinking of that have kind of a bad texture, that's because most diners, I don't think, make grits correctly. I think I make better grits than the average diner by far.
Now I want grits.
Everybody should have grits. It's a perfect food to have in your fridge or in your cabinet when you need to make something quickly in an ad break on a podcast.
Back in the day,
Salt Hank.
Back in the day, we at Tech TV, we did an appearance in Birmingham, Alabama, and we went to a very fine country home there and had breakfast, and they made us cheese grits. And those cheese grits sat there all day long in my tum-tum. I kind of never forget that experience. It's a lasting breakfast. Let's put it that way. Well, go enjoy your grits. We're going to take a little break. Jeff Jarvis is also here, and we're so glad to have Marshall Kirkpatrick with us. It's been a long time. It's great to see you, Marshall. I'm glad you're doing well, too. That's fantastic. Systems. Now, this is timely. The number one AI development platform, OutSystems, helps businesses bridge the enterprise gap to their agentic future, where the constraints of the past give way to the unlimited capacity and scale of AI. OutSystems enables companies to build AI agents that can actually do work, such as take actions, make decisions, and integrate with data rather than just answer questions. OutSystem provides the only AI development platform that is unified, agile, and enterprise proven. Let me explain. It's unified because you build, run, and govern apps and agents in one platform. It's agile because you can innovate at the speed of AI, importantly, without compromising quality or control. And it's enterprise proven, trusted by enterprises for mission critical AI applications and durable innovation. OutSystems is the secret weapon behind the world's most successful companies. They're not just for small apps, they're for the massive, complex systems that run banks, insurance companies, and government services. OutSystems even helps companies with aging IT environments bridge the gap to the AI future without a rip and replace nightmare. OutSystems provides the safest and fastest way for an enterprise to go from, yikes, we need an AI strategy, to, yeah, we have a functioning AI application. Yeah. Stop wondering how AI will change your business and start building the agents that will lead it. Visit outsystems.com/twit to see how the world's most innovative enterprises use OutSystems to build, deploy, and manage AI apps and agents quickly and cost-effectively without compromising reliability and security. That's outsystems.com/TWIT to book a demo. Outsystems.com/twit. We want to thank OutSystems for supporting Intelligent Machines. So, we've been talking about the big trial in Los Angeles. You remember Snapchat and TikTok both settled out. The plaintiff was a 20-year-old woman who said, I got addicted early on. I think it was to Instagram primarily, but in general to social. And as a result, I've had a terrible, terrible life. And it's their fault.
Okay, come on. You're perhaps describing this in a slightly disingenuous way. She began using YouTube at age 6, Instagram at age 9. She testified that she believed social media led to depression, body dysmorphia, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, self-harm.
Yeah,
she
terrible
cutting
life.
herself at age 10. All of these, the jury ended up answering yes to every question that it was asked on negligence and finding failure to warn, voting 10-2 on each claim for each defendant.
Now, I have to say...
So the thing that I think is interesting about this, before you poo-poo all over this, is unlike other lawsuits, which have all easily been dismissed due to Section 230, this is one of the first bellwether cases in this giant MDL litigation, which has, I believe, hundreds, if not thousands, of lawsuits that are all trying to apply this novel legal approach that instead of using any of the normal ways to sue a tech company, they're arguing basically it's a product liability or personal injury case. They're arguing that this was negligent design and has nothing to do with the actual user content. And in regards to this case, they're saying that Meta and YouTube executives knew that their products were harming or potentially inducing addictive behaviors in children, and specifically very young children, and they did not take adequate steps to prevent their products from causing foreseeable harms. And I think that's part of the reason why I think the jury ended up deciding in the plaintiff's favor here, is it's not as simple of a case as we normally see with these sort of things.
Yeah, the jury didn't give them a lot of
factor that caused all of this with this woman is a pretty simplistic view itself.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, no one can know what caused
Yeah.
her issues.
And there's plenty and
Well,
plenty and plenty
they
of
can
research.
because that's exactly what this case was about, where they spent weeks and weeks and weeks about this very specific thing, actually, is what they just decided was exactly that.
Marshall, you're
Deliberation
nodding.
even took 44 hours. It took 9 days.
Yeah, they took a while.
Well,
By
because they
the way,
also weren't agreeing.
I should point out, yes, they've ruled against him, but they didn't give them the worst damages ever. $4.2 million to Meta. That's combined compensatory and punitive damages. YouTube, $1.8 million. These are tiny compared to the revenues of these companies.
Sounds
This
like it
is
was
interest for one day. It was well worth it.
I don't think that's correct because this is a bellwether case. That's both being used as a like in an idiomatic phrase as well as a like legal literal sense. So this
is it a
MDL.
precedent?
Yes.
Does it count as a precedent?
No. So this is part of an MDL, which I believe is multi-district litigation. It basically, I wrote about this a couple of years ago, so forgive me if my knowledge is a little out of date, but at the time there were hundreds, if not thousands of cases like this that all ended up getting grouped under this MDL, where they were all about social media addiction litigation involving a handful of these companies and kind of taking on the same novel legal argument where they're trying to argue defective design and kind of negligent design. And so
They knew
all were
about
grouped-
it, but they didn't care enough to fix it. Basically.
I mean, they're basically making the same sort of argument that you see in tobacco or asbestos cases. But so as part of what you do in a big case like this, where you have thousands and thousands, Facebook, Meta, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, all of them were like, we don't want to sit here and litigate 1,000 of these cases individually. That'll be very costly. Instead, we're going to select a handful of literally called bellwether cases. I think it's like 8 or something in this case. And that's going to be used to determine the future of all of this litigation. So this is the first of it.
Well, and it's actually not the first because on Tuesday, a New Mexico jury.
I don't believe is that part of the same multi-district litigation? No, that's different.
But it's
so it's not
similar,
a bell.
This was the case brought by the state attorney general in New Mexico. They found
It's similar but
Meta
different.
liable for violating state law by failing to safeguard users of its apps from child predators, and that fine was $375 million. A little bit more painful for Meta.
That was a slightly
It's not the same
case.
thing.
So this was their civil penalties under New Mexico. Like
Right.
they've gotten them for is willfully violating New Mexico's Unfair Practices Act. And the Attorney General, who is I've spoken to him, Raul Torres. He's very up to date with obviously all of this and has been following the MDL quite a bit. But basically, this is slightly different. Like undercover officers posed as children on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. They ended up kind of having a sting operation. They are kind of going to be doing a phase 2 bench trial as to whether Meta created a public nuisance, which might require platform design changes, but it's slightly different. Yeah. This LA case that was decided today is the first of the official bellwether cases that can decide the fate of all this future litigation. And Meta and all these people, of course, are saying they're going to appeal this decision, but I do think this has been a huge movement we've seen over the last couple of years. I profiled one of the attorneys and legal groups that have been kind of pushing this movement. It's called the Social Media Victims Law Center. I profiled them a couple years ago. But this movement has all been happening with only 1 or 2 real decisions in the favor of this being a viable legal strategy. This is the first time. This has been a huge victory for this, and it's going to open up the floodgates even more.
Any guess on appeal? What are you reading about the
appeal would be different because you're now talking to a panel of judges as opposed to a jury.
But
I can see why a jury might be very
from a consumer
sympathetic.
protection perspective, from a historical perspective, it sounds like this is a BFD. This is
yes, this is a huge. I think this is a huge deal. As someone I had been 2.5 years ago, I was like, man, when one of those first bellwether cases, when this case comes up, it's going to be huge. And I'm I mean, I'm not surprised given that it was a jury deciding it. And I think like juries are going to be more easily swayed, obviously,
Moral
towards
panic.
this. And it's a compelling argument, yes. But it depends who...
Benito was
just
waiting. He
disintegrated
was
into
just
sand.
waiting.
I know. And I'm
The
really
finger was
proud of you
on
for
the
getting
button.
it.
You're welcome, Benito.
I mean, I think that it depends on who ends up seeing the appeal, what judge and court it goes to, because the thing is, this is not the only, I say this is a huge deal, and it is, but this is not the only case like this that has been decided in plaintiff's favor. This all kind of started with a case called Lemon v. Snap in 2019, which is probably one of the reasons why, I mean, I obviously don't know any of this specific, I don't know, maybe one of the reasons why Snapchat was like, we got to get out of here, we're not going to trial, is it was a really interesting case where a couple of teenagers, I believe, ended up dying, if not all of them, in a high-speed crash because Snapchat had rolled out a speedometer feature, you guys might recall if you ever used it, back in the day, where essentially it would show you how fast you were going. And I think there was something going around where people believed like, oh, if you got to 200 miles an hour, you got a special thing. It was a big deal on Snapchat. Everybody was trying to see how fast they could possibly go in cars to get this sort of Snapchat response from the app. And these kids ended up going like 200 miles an hour or something, or some crazy amount, crashed their car, died. And then Snapchat faced a suit saying, hey, you should have realized when you're, designing this feature and hearing the way people are using it, that it could put people in harm's way, and maybe consider your design more. And they ended up being
Snapchat design that particularly, or was it some idiot
it was
user
it was not a user designed feature. It was
Uh-huh.
Snapchat designed and rolled it out.
That's pretty
and
dumb.
it was a really landmark decision in that, like, it was the first kind of crack in Section 230 being the go-to defense for all sort of
Well, in that case,
claims
but if
against these.
Snapchat created it, Section 230 wouldn't have been a defense.
I know. And that's why Section 230 wasn't able to apply. And that's why they ended up being found liable for defective or negligent design. But then this started opening up this whole new legal area for a lot of these companies, or a lot of litigants, where they're saying, well, there are other aspects of these platforms that are design decisions, and how can we try and suss out whether or not those are defective designs or not? And this is, we're gonna see how it all shakes out, but it's gonna be very interesting.
So the plaintiff's attorney brought in a jar of M&Ms saying, imagine this is the revenue of these massive companies. If you don't give them a large punitive decision, take out a handful of those M&Ms. If you just take out one M&M, they're not going to feel it. The jury did not buy it. In fact, one of the jurors, the New York Times quotes one of the jurors who said they shied away from giving the plaintiff a huge sum. We wanted to focus on the future and what teens and children would be subjected to in the future. They didn't want to punish these companies, but they did want to make it clear the companies were responsible. So to your point, they wanted to set a precedent.
I feel like this is a paradigm level, like, incentive problem that was an opportunity to make a meaningful intervention on. As a founder who has raised money from investors, like, one of the things that investors, classic statement that investors say to startups is, if you have a choice between building a vitamin and building a painkiller, always build a painkiller, because that's what'll sell. So, like, the incentive to build addictive, short-term, optimized stuff is, like, baked into the whole system.
But this is the problem.
That's where the money is.
But addiction is a trope. And it goes back to, I've done it before, to novels and so on. In the earliest days of the internet, and I write about this in The Web We Weave at length, this notion, immediately there started support groups for addiction, definitions of addiction that were ludicrous. One Columbia professor started a joke group around addiction, and people took it seriously. They didn't know what to do with it.
They're addicted to jokes?
No, he started it saying this was a joke.
Oh.
He thought the argument for addiction was so absurd, and people glommed onto it.
Well, but AA works. That model can work.
Research is
to help
not
people.
backing up addiction. The research does not back up addiction. So that's an issue here. That's why this was a jury's emotional response.
This was my point, which is you can prove that cigarettes cause cancer. It has been proven. You can prove asbestos causes mesothelioma. This has been proven. It is much more difficult to say. Yes. She said in her testimony that at a very young age, at age of 6, she found she turned to these platforms because she was bullied and lonely, and it was a creative outlet for her, and all of which I believe completely. She says that's what caused my problems. Of course, Meta's defense was that her mental health issues had other causes. They said familial abuse and turmoil, but the difficulty is you can prove cancer is caused by cigarettes. It's very hard to prove that mental illness.
Do we talk about Gabor Mate here? Does Gabor Mate's name ever come up? The Canadian doctor and author who argues, if I could summarize, that addiction is basically a coping mechanism, an unhealthy coping mechanism for trauma.
Right. That's often certainly what they say in the 12-step programs, things like that.
The one of the experts who testified, a Stanford addiction medicine expert, testified that social media reward mechanisms activate the same neurological dopamine pathways as gambling and substance addiction. But I don't know that we necessarily want to go down this thing. I think the thing that ended up...
The dopamine response is the same as wearing glasses.
The thing that
or enjoying a good book.
That's such.
The thing that ended up sinking, I think, it for Meta and YouTube is there was just a lot of internal documents that showed Meta was trying to hook young users and get them as young as possible. I think one of the quotes is, if we want to win big with teens, we must bring them in as tweens. And it's like, I remember at the time, a lot of these documents were coming out because there were some redaction errors that led to some of them being shown that we shouldn't, where essentially they said, we're trying to optimize for maximum amount of pickups a day. They would be, in some cases, optimizing for kids picking up their phone throughout the evening. I think it's not coincidental that as all of this litigation has been going on and as discovery has been going on over the last couple of years and these kind of appalling documents and revelations are coming out, that Meta's rolling out teen accounts, there's been YouTube Kids accounts have come out with stricter parental controls. I think that, I don't know, it does feel like a bit of a paradigm shift.
And it's not a fair fight between the billions of dollars and all the expertise on one side against some traumatized 6-year-old kid and being like, hey, you didn't have to take the bait with the app and keep picking it up.
Right.
But there's also the trauma.
What about her parents?
There's also the traumatized young child who feels very alone, who turns to social media and turns to the internet because it gives them the salve that they otherwise wouldn't have. There's tons of research about that. So what's happened in Australia is what's being taken away from children is going to make a lot of children worse because of this moral panic and moral entrepreneurship. And you have people like Tristan Harris who've now moved on from this and moved on from social media. So he has the AI doc coming out next, and he's going to argue how awful that is for all of us, and he knows best for all of humanity. And it causes more problems potentially in the long run because it's built on assumptions and fears, not on research and data.
Well, clearly, look, Gabor Mate notwithstanding, and I don't know even if the jury would deny Gabor Mate's thesis, maybe she was filling some hole, caused by trauma. I think the jury was persuaded mostly and ruled this way mostly because they feel like Meta and YouTube intentionally cultivated algorithms.
I think that's where Paris's arguments are the
yes, I'm agreeing with
telling
Paris.
Is that the internal material.
Yes, it was persuasive.
The irresponsibility.
They did this on purpose, and they deserve Well, it's interesting. The jurors didn't want to punish them exactly, but they wanted to be a wake-up call that you guys need to fix this. This is not that you are responsible for creating something this addictive.
It also sounds
may
like
not
a
be what
compromise to
sent
get the verdict.
KGM down this road, the plaintiff down this road in the long run. But you're right, Marshall. She had no defense as a 6-year-old against this, intentional cultivation of a very, very sticky product. I just worry that it can be extended to other things that are equally enjoyable. Not everything's heroin.
One of the things that is going to come of this is like bellwether trials, especially in these sort of mass torts. They often end up being used to kind of set the tone and speed for global settlement talks, like with like Roundup or opioids or 3M or things like that.
Got out of it, and TikTok got out of it.
Once you started to see the bellwether cases being decided in favor of plaintiffs, these companies are like, okay, well, I guess we'll just get out ahead of this, maybe start doing some global settlement negotiation, accelerate that process. And I think that, I don't know, this has obviously been a problem that the big social media companies have had to contend with for many years, and it had not really it seemingly hadn't risen to the level of concern to result in any product changes or care towards providing parents with tool. You said earlier, like, well, what about the parents? Until recently, parents didn't have any tool. You could either have your kid have an Instagram account or they couldn't. They didn't really have
That's the other
working
argument, yes.
parental tools until all this stuff started coming out.
But who gives a 6-year-old a phone and allows them to spend hours a day on Instagram? That's the parent's fault. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I think there can be compelling arguments made on both sides. I think, yes, that's wise. Also, if you're a parent that's working 3 jobs, you have your kid who's screaming at the top of your lungs, and you have to be in a Zoom meeting without noise in the background, or else you're going to get fired and maybe lose your housing. Yeah, you're going to want to hand your kid a phone or something.
I'm sure there were reasons, and I think this is what I'm saying is the jury might even know about those reasons and might even think the parents have some culpability, and I think
the jury would know about those reasons, given them that's their job.
They saw the testimony, and they probably, I'm sure the defense told them about Gabor Mate, but what the jury really is saying here, and I'm really curious what the impact of this legally is doesn't matter because the companies created a product intentionally to cultivate this kind of compulsive use. So, Paris, so does this mean that somebody else can make a lawsuit, and then it's not a precedent in the sense that a legal precedent, but they could bring this case up and say, look what the jury did in LA? Is that why it's valuable? How's the strength in those cases?
This, in my opinion, is that it's a high profile incident showing of an incident where this novel legal argument has resulted in damages being assessed against one of these companies and a result being found. It's an example of success. And I mean, more practically, this is one of the bellwether cases for this multi-district litigation. And so it will have a very profound and direct impact on all of those. Like, this is 1/8 or whatever, how many bellwether cases there are. Last time I checked, it was 8. This is 1/8 of the way to deciding what's going on with these 1,000
But
cases.
does bellwether have a legal...
Yes, like literally when you have it was part of, my understanding of it is, looking through this multi-district litigation, it's a truly thousands upon thousands of like things in the legal docket. It's all these different cases that have kind of all been merged under one for court consolidation. And as part of that, there was a long back and forth period a couple of years ago where the plaintiff's attorneys, the defense attorneys, the judges all kind of went back and forth, and they eventually settled on this handful of, maybe it was 8 or 10 cases they're choosing as bellwethers that are, they think are, they both agree are representative of the class.
The plaintiffs are choosing this.
The plaintiffs and the defense, they both had to agree.
Okay.
Everybody had to agree. The judge had to sign off. And then it's not those are decided and whoever gets more the rest are decided. But when it comes to settlement discussions and, the defense and both the plaintiffs and defense taking a sense of how the rest of this multi-district litigation is going to be resolved, it's eventually going to get resolved in some sort of settlement talks that are going to be decided either in favor of the plaintiffs or in favor of the defense in some mass tort sense. And the bellwethers are used as bellwethers to determine which way they think these things are going to go.
After appeal.
I mean, yeah, but these early decisions, I think, are notable.
Well, it's certainly a big deal. It's not a lot of money, but it's a big deal.
It's also fascinating to me is that we've kind of moved past social media as the issue. Everybody's talking AI, and social media is kind of yesterday's issue.
Well, that's how it works in the legal system and
media and society.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope AI goes better than social media went, right?
I was going to say, talking about AI, as I was doing some tweeting about this today and ended up shouting out my story from 2024 on one of the, basically a longtime asbestos lawyer who is the head of one of these firms. And as I was doing it, I was like, I ended up doing a lot of research into tort law, and that's how I ended up discovering my favorite museum in the world back in the day, the American Museum of Tort Law. And I was on their website because they're obviously shouting out this because this is novel. It's an expansion.
Well, because the lawyers are going to make the bulk of the money is why they're shouting this out.
I mean, no, in tort law, like it typically the lawyers' fees being around 30%.
Yeah. Depends what Casey agreed to.
Yeah. But on the American Museum of Tort Law website, they had this thing from JD Supra, which said, "Can social media or AI be a defective product liability in mass tort law monitoring?"
That's interesting.
And that's why I realized this, what we've been talking about, there's a parallel wave of litigation against AI developers or against against kind of ChatGPT, obviously against OpenAI, Character AI, and similar things, trying to argue I think it's obviously a bit more complicated given the nature of their platforms are different, but that, in the case of the Character AI chatbot that quote unquote urged a child to kill themselves.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of those cases.
There's a lot of them. They're like, is that defective design?
So this is consumer product law that's really
that's the issue, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's product liability, baby.
And it's going to come to AI because of the whole talk about are great guardrails possible? Can they do anything? Is it a fool's errand?
Right.
Do they, they argue that they can take over all mankind, but they can't cause a simple change to avoid a simple problem.
Right.
It's the lawyers and the AI companies should be perking their ears up and they're going to be destroying a lot of documents about now.
Yeah, and I just think that the really important highest level takeaway here is that all of this just seems to be another piercing of this long-standing assumption that I feel like the tech industry has long had, that if you're a tech company, everything gets broad immunity from sort of tort exposure and a lot of lawsuits because Section 230. That is genuinely a significant amount of lawsuits involving these sort of companies and platforms end up just getting dismissed first thing. They're like, Section 230, you can't, it's not
in this case, though, it
content.
just doesn't
in this case,
hold.
No. Yeah.
Because it isn't content that was posted by its users that was the issue. Their issue here is how that content was displayed, the algorithms used to display that content.
It's addictive. Product design. And so it's just
product design.
This is
that makes sense.
A segment of law and litigation that somehow hadn't really emerged wholeheartedly until recently. And I think that's just very interesting precedent-wise.
I think what Jeff and I are mostly concerned about is going forward, if this is going to extend liability into other new technologies, and put a chill on them, not just AI.
In a way that may be impossible to follow.
Right.
That you and so it goes back to Section 230 to this extent, is that without the shield that was provided, every online company would have said, you can't talk here, you can't do anything here. Nope.
Am I liable?
Because I don't want to be liable because I can't get insurance. My lawyers aren't going to let me, and so we're going to have an internet of PDFs. So
am I liable for creating shows that are fabulously addictive and that people have to listen to 3 hours every single day?
We're the ones who are addicted. Leo, Paris and I are filing a class action suit against you later today.
There's got to be somewhere in between, an internet of PDFs, and I could shoot a man on Fifth Avenue and still be elected president.
We are still looking for that somewhere in between. Bye-bye, Sora. In other
hardly knew ye.
That app, which was both grotesque.
Sora.
Sayonara, Sora.
Sayonara, Sora. OpenAI has announced it's going to shut down Sora, which is ironic because Disney agreed to give them $1 billion
because of Sora
and license their characters to Sora so people could use Disney characters in their Sora videos. I guess Disney says, yeah, well, never mind if you're going to shut it down. Martin Peers and Anne Gahane, your former colleagues at The Information, say OpenAI wrongfoots Disney. Well, Disney must be so glad it committed $1 billion to OpenAI.
Well, no, $1 billion. They're not paying the $1 billion.
They said, well.
God, that's such a Martin Peers headline. Maybe.
I'm not going to delve into that. Anyway, I think OpenAI, we were talking before the show about why OpenAI did that, and there are a lot of good reasons. OpenAI, we've had the story, is focusing more. They've decided, they looked at what the enterprise revenue generated, all of a sudden generated by Anthropic, and saying, hey, maybe this chatbot thing isn't where we should have spent our energy.
At the same time, Walmart has pulled out because OpenAI's shopping was not performing.
Yeah. Look at this graph from
OpenAI
Axios.
is pissing off Microsoft. OpenAI is not your get-along company.
This article, the AI spending flip. This is AI model share of first-time enterprise customers. OpenAI declining dramatically while Anthropic increasing dramatically. They flip-flopped. OpenAI, a year ago had 60% of the enterprise market to Anthropic's 40%. Now it's Anthropic's 73% to OpenAI's 26%. So it's
that's probably one of the reasons why OpenAI was offering private equity firms what is a 17.5 free return rate this week?
Guaranteed. Yeah, it wasn't just a high bond rate. It was a guarantee.
A guaranteed, which is
I'll take that.
Crazy.
That's pretty good.
I mean, it's very interesting. It's,
if they're bankrupt, they can't pay that money anyway. So,
part of what they're saying is, I assume, is they're hoping to get it back by having all of the PE firms get their portfolio companies to do expensive enterprise subscriptions with OpenAI, and then that's where they're going to be paying the private equity firms that 17.5% back. But it's just like, my first question was like, what portfolio company in the year 2026 doesn't already have a enterprise AI subscription? Probably not many.
Right. I wonder what's going to happen to Johnny Ive's $6 billion AI device. That's another distraction, isn't it? OpenAI has a web browser.
An analysis of the show transcripts over the last 18 months found that OpenAI's financial stability used to be a major topic of conversation here, but has been on the decline now for some time.
I wonder why. Has there been any other changes?
No, Claude, I love you, Claude. But I'm not alone, and I think you've seen this also, probably, Marshall, is among the nerds. Claude, it's just got all the mind share right now.
Well, I'll go back to OpenAI. Is it in trouble?
When is it not?
I think it's in more. Is it in more trouble? I mean, it's IPO. There's no possible purchase. No one's going to buy it. It's desperate.
Microsoft's already threatening to sue them, so that relationship's soured.
Why? Why are they threatening to sue?
Because OpenAI did a deal with Amazon, and Microsoft wasn't too happy about that. They said that's a violation of our contract.
And OpenAI is like, but I need all the money in the world so I could maybe make a product that works.
So Walmart says that the ChatGPT checkout converted 3 times worse than the website.
Yeah. What's the strategy behind OpenAI now? Anthropic is clearly, it's got enterprise, B2B, coders, it was ready for Claw, even though they pissed off the OpenClaw.
They do own Peter Steinberger. They bought OpenClaw. Well, they bought him.
But that's like Mark Zuckerberg buying Moltbook. It was meaningless. You didn't need to buy them.
Right. And of course, OpenClaw is now as an open foundation and is not owned by anybody.
So that was a sign of desperation in both cases.
You know what? I think investors are not going to quickly turn their back on OpenAI because what are these guys? Putting my mind in the mind of the billionaire is not always a good thing.
If only.
But I think what I imagine is that they say, look, somebody's going to come along with AGI and it's going to be the upside.
That's your first, but
what?
Go ahead.
How? Okay, sorry.
Stop there, right?
Let's just
grant that.
I'm just telling you what the Jason Calacanis of the world would think.
And they're always right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Marshall took some money from Jason, so we should ask Marshall. But I think they're thinking there is potentially a massive upside to AI.
For those of you listening, you should have seen the grimace on Marshall's face.
There is a massive upside to AI. We don't really yet know. I mean, at the minute it becomes clear, these guys aren't going to win, then they'll be like rats leaving a sinking ship. But until then, they're going to hedge their bets. So I think there's still going to be plenty of money for OpenAI.
NVIDIA was going to invest $100 billion, and then they went, no, more like 20 or whatever it is, 30.
So maybe the rats have started to leave.
Maybe they've started leaving, yeah.
That's when it will happen, is when investors say, it's not going to be, the winner's not going to be OpenAI. I don't think that's clear
is in
yet.
Trouble.
Their models are very good. 5.4 is very good.
I go back to what is their vision and business model? We know what Google's is. We know what Amazon's is, kind of. We definitely know what Anthropic's is these days. What is OpenAI's mission and vision? I don't know.
Make money?
But
question mark?
They want every consumer to spend $20 a month on their apps, and all the enterprises to pay for their APIs to
there aren't many companies
everything.
that are both consumer and enterprise. And I think OpenAI has been, in fact, I used to, when I taught business to my students, said when you're starting out, you can't be both because you often end up competing with yourself or your customers as a result. And so OpenAI was unquestionably a great consumer brand.
Microsoft's
now
done both.
It's pushing after the enterprise. Microsoft has, yes.
So according to, this is an information graph going from October 2023 to last month. Annualized revenue, OpenAI's is still on top with $25 billion a year. Anthropic, though, has gone from practically nothing to $19 billion a year, and they're growing at which looks like an almost exponential rate. So now remember, revenue is not profit. None of this is profit, but
right.
I'm sure the investors look at revenue as one of the metrics.
By the way, getting rid of Sora doesn't mean they're getting rid of video. They're just getting rid of that product, Sora, that was...
I think
they're getting rid of all... Are they stopping video generation?
It's not just the app. It's the whole Sora model is gone.
I can't help but see that as video is really expensive, and much like Marshall said, their current business model is we want to get everybody to pay us $20 a month or pay us for an API like enterprise subscription, and both of those, you're losing a crap ton of money too. It's like at some point you run out of people to ask money. I mean, they're running out of people to ask for money to the point where they're asking people who are getting them in legal trouble with the other people they've asked for money. It's seeming like we've got a little Ed Zitron going on here,
Well, and there's another argument which we also talked about before the show. There's another argument which we talked about before the show, which is that they also may just want the GPUs and computing. They want the compute to dedicate it to something else more revenue forward. They also know, which we don't know, how many people were using that app. I bet it was down to a very small number. So
you bet? Why? Just a couple of guys, go back in the Notebook LM and find all the times you're like, Sora's the future. Everybody's going to be using this app. It's the coolest thing ever.
Hollywood's still shaking in their boots. Hollywood's still shaking in their boots.
I put it in the chat.
Yeah, wait, I thought this was going to stop Hollywood. I thought we were never going to have a need for an actor ever again. Because Sora was going to make all these cool
Sora was
pretty
god awful.
Sora
Point of being a fad. Sora was a gimmick.
Yeah.
So in response to a post saying that OpenAI published a blog about safety standards for Sora, and today they scrapped the feature completely, Ed tweeted, "This is something a company does when things are going well."
Ed is a little too happy to celebrate.
We need to just get a little Ed soundbite so that we can put that in with a little, maybe you can use Sora to decide one and be like.
Would you ask Ed to record something like, "I told you that would happen," or
what did you think would happen?
What did you think would happen?
These companies are a scam.
Yeah, you know Ed well. Get him to record.
We need an Ed soundboard. Yeah,
we actually do need an Ed soundboard. Yeah,
maybe he'd volunteer.
Is OpenAI too big to fail? Like, is that their strategy? Like, get too big to fail? Like,
well,
that was my sad phone sound.
You know why that might be the case, and probably one of the reasons they stepped up when Anthropic said we're not going to do this Defense Department stuff, and they immediately said, "Okay, we will." That's how you get too big to fail. If the government relies on you, if the Department of War depends on you, then maybe you do get too big to fail, or at least the government has to kind of prop you up a little bit if they're relying on you. I guess the other question is, and you would know about this, Marshall, how fungible these models are. It looks like the Department of War was very, very easily replaced Anthropic. It looks like, right? So
Palantir may not be so excited to.
Yeah, Palantir does a lot of Anthropic, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I certainly would be unhappy to lose access to Claude models, but I do have a circuit breaker system in place too. When the API goes red, as happens, there's happened
yesterday, didn't it, Paris? You were saying, is Claude squirreling out on you? You asked me.
I mean, it was just an issue where, like, every time I would try to use Claude, it would take like 3 minutes to generate a response.
Something was going on.
Well, if you look at the status page of the Claude API, it's got, green, 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 yellow, red, red, red. You can see days where there's issues, and right around when the whole Department of War controversy came up, and there was a whole bunch of people came piling in to use it, it's had a lot of red on it, and so
this is current,
and. So my system falls back to GPT when Claude goes down.
Actually, this is not looking good.
Well, that's about what it's looked like. Yeah, for a while.
Yeah, a lot of
funny.
red.
Claude for government out.
Oh yeah, there's Claude for government. It's working fine because no one's using it. All right, we're gonna take another break. You're watching Intelligent Machines. Paris Martineau, Jeff Jarvis. We're great to have Marshall Kirkpatrick with us, who is a longtime tech journalist, but also an avid, avid AI user. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Addict. He's an addict, just like you, Leo.
He has something to tell you, Paris. He put 18 months of our transcripts into his machine and has a few things to tell you about me.
Ooh.
Because this excites Paris.
Is this different than the Notebook LM?
By the way, I talked to
Discord?
Anamova, who created that. He joined us on our AI user group a couple of weeks ago. Was talking. He did get all of the transcripts in there, but he had to chunk them up to do it. Yeah, you were right. And he had that graphic, many lovely graphics showing what a moron I am. So thanks for that, AI. Salute. We'll have more in just a minute. Our show today brought to you by Spaceship. Remember Paris, secretly British?
God, I literally have time on my calendar on Saturday to work.
Okay. We register it with Spaceship, and I tell you, we shopped around. Secretly, BRITI.sh, brilliant domain name. Spaceship had the best price for it. If you've heard us talk about Spaceship before, there's a reason it keeps coming back. It's because Spaceship is rethinking how people register and manage domains. And this fresh approach has led to more than, we're not alone, 6.5 million domains under management in absolute record time. That kind of growth comes from giving people what they actually want. Spaceship offers transparent, low pricing on domain registrations. Transfers are fantastic. If you're with another registrar, check out what you get when you transfer. And crucially, renewals, right? You're going to save all around. It's not just a one-time saving and then they jack the price up. That means there's more clarity over what you're paying for over time. Alongside great value, the platform is especially built for flexibility. We did this with Secretly British. You can instantly connect your Spaceship registered domains to Spaceship products like web hosting, professional email, virtual machines, and you can build and test before committing because almost every Spaceship product comes with a 30-day trial. I like that. Now, if you still want to use third-party tools, that's fine, no problem. We did this with Paris. Just point your domain to what you need by updating your DNS records or name servers. You can even use their AI ALF to do the hard work. So you have the freedom to build your stack exactly how you want. When I realized that Secretly British wasn't going to be a real website for a while, I just pointed it to Paris's existing website. It was that easy with Spaceship. Basically, Spaceship is the best of every world. Visit spaceship.com/twit to learn more. Be a great place for your open claw. That's spaceship.com/twit. We thank him so much for supporting intelligent machines. Thank you, Spaceship. Now, Saturday. You know what? Don't feel pressure, Paris. I don't want you to feel pressured. Secretly British can wait.
I don't feel pressured. I literally, independently of this, messaged my friend and was like, we got to get on our great business idea of Secretly British.
But don't make it too good because you might get sued for being addictive. I'm just warning you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Don't make it too good.
Don't ever try to pass any laws that make the world good or better in any way, because then Leo could find any of the bad things and he will say you shouldn't have it.
Marshall will have it on the record now. When was Paris warned that this would be a problem?
Guys, we will be fire and ash in 10 to 50 years. None of this is going to matter.
Really? Is that your deeply held belief?
I think there's a dice throw chance that we're going to be fire and ash.
Did you watch the AI doc already? Is that what's gotten you there?
No, I just think, you look around, you see the way the world's going, you see the rate at which it's gotten worse over the past 5 to 10 years. I think it's a reasonable, throw a D20, roll in that one, we're going to be fire and ash sort of chance. You got a 10%. But I think that's fine.
What is that? So
the D20 is 5%, by the way.
Sorry?
A D20 is 5%.
A D20 is 5%.
Thank you.
1 in 20. Yeah.
Speaking of numbers, I look at $1 billion natural disasters per year in the United States. In 1980, there were 2 inflation adjusted $1 billion. In 2024, there were 28.
Wow.
$1 billion disasters. And then they've stopped since then because the Trump administration said shut down the campaign measuring those. But yeah, it is quite an
So
art.
we don't have any numbers after 2024.
We don't have any numbers. We don't even have numbers, Leo.
It's not happening because we don't know. Is now.
Luckily, third parties and independent folks have continued measuring it, but it is up and to the right in terms of. So,
Paris, what did you want to know about the last 18 months of intelligent machines? What insights could Marshall give you from his database?
Well, I can tell you why I thought to ask was because of Paris saying in the last episode, "Oh, Leo, you say this is going to change everything all the time." We were talking about Claude Code and coding, and I said, "Oh, that's interesting. I wonder what kind of history there really has been of that." And so I did put a link just in chat right now. I don't know if you want to look, but
am I turning into Scoble? Is that what you're telling me, Marshall?
Well, no. So Claude's analysis, Claude pulled down 75 issue episodes and transcribed all the thing, and it used the word hyperbolic, not me. But
you're making Paris so happy.
But it said that on 60% of the shows,
Laporte emerged as a self-described AI accelerationist in scare quotes, whose enthusiasm intensified over the period, making hyperbolic claims in 45 of 75 episodes, though consistently leavened by genuine skepticism and self-awareness.
Yes, if you go down to the "This will change everything" section, it says it is not as simple as Leo being like a naive, boy who cried wolf. Instead, his claims, while frequent, varied in intensity, and were accompanied by self-aware qualification and genuine skepticism about specific products and companies.
I was never a monolith, it says.
I love these tags. I love that there's a tag called Revolution Imminent.
Oh, boy.
I think we're on the cusp of a pretty big AI revolution in the next year, he said in December 2024.
Well,
This is going to be a very few interesting years.
I'll stand by that.
He predicted an AI co-host within the next 5 years, I guarantee, on Twit.
That's because I'm going to make it happen.
A personal agent on your wrist can change everything.
Yes, and I've been working hard at that. Yes, even though I erased it yesterday. By the way, your role, Paris, is as empirical check. Paris's role was to ground the conversation with reporting, data, and personal experience.
Good. True.
Good job. Your signature move, Paris, was the empirical correction.
Leo, on February 20th, 2025, you can't look it up. What do you say you measure your life in now? Let's fill in the blank. I measure my life in blank now.
I measure my life.
Just think about your day-to-day. How do you measure your life?
In tree rings? I don't know. You're going to have to tell me. In what? Tokens. Oh, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I just think this...
That's fair. Okay. I do. I measure my life in tokens.
7 days later... I am an AI accelerationist is the quote. February 7th, 2025, the first explicit declaration says
I like how you put this in black. The accusation.
The same episode about musicians' silent album protest. The good news is they're all going to be gone soon.
Wow, that's pretty horrible.
It's on the record, I guess.
Oh my God.
This is actually this is the most impressed I've been by AI related to the show ever because it understands
See how good it is?
Under a plot called Guest Adulation, Revolution Imminent, it says 1 liter of computronium would give you more capability than all human beings together. M-. Wow. Context Ray Kurzweil interview, all at guest claim. I want to drink from that brain, admiring Kurzweil's intellect. This is going to be the year of robotics. I do think he understands what I found funny about that interview, and I really delight that.
Well, while this being the case, I did another analysis that visualized the balance between AI autonomy and people being and organizations taking responsibility for AI across the last 5 episodes of Intelligent Machines, and it found that that you all are consistently advocating for people and organizations to take responsibility for their AI, whether it's high autonomy or low autonomy. There's an emphasis on responsibility here that I'm guessing I don't hear, at least, and I haven't analyzed this, but I don't see it on the other major AI podcasts.
Yes, they interview CEOs and say, what else have you done that's wonderful lately?
The other thing Claude doesn't know. By the way, is this what's up with that basically that you used for this?
No, this was a loop that I was my friend at Fleet of Geniuses showed me how to make, where it's a skill where I said, hey, go pull down 18 months and do this analysis. I got to go take a shower and eat lunch.
Wow.
And I came back and boom, it was
How did it get 18 months in its token context? I mean, that's a lot of data.
It chunked it out into 15 sub-agents. And then used Opus to weave it all together.
Very cool.
Can we get this?
The Emily Bender episode It says, mine is always right, in brackets, about perplexity.
It
Context. Defending AI reliability while simultaneously showing an error.
Oh,
It got your ass.
Did I show an error? Did it show it? No,
You
no.
did. If you recall,
I
during
did
the
show an
Emily
error.
Bender extra, you showed
the error was
perplexity
mine.
screen, and no, perplexity had gotten the biographical details wrong.
No, I did. Perplexity was right. I misread it.
But she still blamed Perplexity.
She blamed Perplexity. That's a subtlety that probably Claude didn't get. That she blamed
And I also
Perplexity.
didn't get it.
And in fact, I said, oh, no, it wasn't Perplexity. It got it right. I misread it. But I will say this. I cop to all of this. It's absolutely accurate. But the nuance that it misses is that my job here is as a show host. It's part of what I have to do
it's your
to
devil's
make
advocate,
this show
rocket
interesting.
drawer.
It isn't necessarily what you would get if you sat down with me at dinner and we were talking about this stuff. I don't sit down at dinner and say, my perplexity's always right.
I was about to say, Leo, maybe this is the reason why you haven't come out to see Jeff and I in a while. Because
You don't want
us
me
to know
to.
the truth.
No, but I mean, to a certain extent, this is showbiz to a certain extent.
Yeah,
It's
you need an irony voice.
Well,
like we need an irony.
You also know this. I often take opposing
Leo.
views that I don't necessarily
you do.
believe in. I mean, this is all part of the
Leo,
process, whether it's a good
Much
one or
like
not.
you're
I
saying
don't
it's
know.
showbiz, me razzing you about this right now, and the fact we've gotten this
I'm not taking it
is
personally.
showbiz.
I know that. That's why I'm not taking it
I
personally.
know. I'm just saying.
Yes.
It also
If you
lacks.
really felt that way about me, I'd be crying right now.
I also don't think it knows about sarcasm.
Interesting. Do you think it misses that, Marshall?
I mean, it does say it knows about sarcasm, but I don't know whether or not it's accurate.
For instance, Guy Kawasaki, I am convinced that AI is God. Actually, he did say that, and I think he did say
He
that.
did say that, and he does believe it, so I don't think
Okay,
that's
never mind.
sarcastic.
Let's see if Ray Kurzweil's right. He says the singularity, AGI by 2029, singularity 2045, computronium and longevity escape velocity by 2032. Now, let's compare that to Paris Martineau's prediction for the same time frame, fire and ash.
Hey, one of us will be right. One of us will be alive to see who's right as
When
well. I
computronium
love
is here,
this.
you'll be sorry.
This is such a cool website.
It is
I
cool.
love it. So
Isn't
we're
it
looking at a
cool?
section right now called Guest Parade, Who Shaped the Conversation, and it puts everybody in buckets based on their, I don't know. I'm just,
Nice.
This
I'm
is really
myopic
great.
and self-obsessed, so I love
Can we
that
get to
it's
this?
applied to me.
I'm just seeing it on your screen, Leo.
I put it.
It's
I put it up
go
on-
in the
It's
Zoom
in
chat.
the chat. But more importantly,
You can
he's-
run what's up with that on it too. And
interesting.
And it will tell you what's most notable in the industry. Mine, I just ran and it said that y'all picking up on vibe coding early and following it along was a standout insight. And then I clicked the power tools, create and make a joke about the transcript. And
this is really ironically, what this also does is prove that I was right about AI. It is incredibly useful and amazing what it can do.
We've never said it was not useful, though.
We just didn't.
It's amazing what it can do.
We said it's amazing. We agree with that.
Are there hallucinations in here?
Okay, there are, because it ends the description of me with Paris's departure to Consumer Reports was a significant loss to the show's dynamic.
Oh, that's
So
not
sorry,
true.
guys.
Oh, that is
I
right.
did notice that too.
There was
Yeah.
one. There's also one
829.
other thing to consider here is that the transcripts aren't totally accurate.
It even says that at the end. There's actually a little disclaimer that says extraction quality varies. Some episodes have more detailed quote capture than others.
And I don't usually find my name in there, so anything I say is usually attributed to someone else.
Really?
It also says hyperbolic statement is a subjective judgment. Some statements classified as hyperbolic in the extractions, like "I love AI," are enthusiastic, but not necessarily exaggerated. I do love AI.
So this was a one-shot thing too.
It's amazing. How long did it take to generate this? You took a shower.
Yeah. I wasn't a long
dirty
shower.
were you?
I had just gone for a jog, listening to the show, and I mean the blocker here, the bottleneck is thinking of the idea I was going for a jog and I heard Paris giving you a hard time, Leo. And I said, I'm going to ask this question. And there is this compounding innovation. A buddy of mine named Justin Kistner, who I've known since I was 16, so 30 some years ago, showed me with his Fleet of Geniuses project now how to make this looping thing that is, based on Claude Codes' previous.
Was it a Ralph loop?
Ralph Wiggums?
Right.
That's what they call it, Ralph Wiggums.
That is what it's called.
I don't know. But it does. It's not a cron job.
Right. Actually, there is a now /loop command in Claude Code. So maybe
I want to. Now that I have it on my screen, I want to brag about this. Jeff maintained the most stable position across 18 months. His core beliefs never wavered.
While everything else changed. Yeah.
Boring.
Hey.
Jeff, it's show business, man. Come on.
Jeff, you got to do the case.
But then all three of you together combined. It's delightful. That's an interesting description of the dynamic.
A philosophical anchor. Can I get that in my intro now?
Yeah.
And the philosophical anchor
your
for
lower
the show.
third should just say philosophical anchor. No
and
name.
Paris, empirical check.
I think that's our lower thirds now, right? Go ahead. Go ahead, do it.
What is mine? Host and self-declared accelerationist. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. You're watching Intelligent Machines with host and self-declared accelerationist Leo Laporte, philosophical anchor Jeff Jarvis, and our empirical check, Paris Martineau. Our special guest this week, Marshall Kirkpatrick, who categorized us all.
He's the categorizer.
AI. Is this prompt public knowledge, or is this kind of a secret sauce?
So it's a Claude Code skill that I then invoked.
Has he published it somewhere that we can?
That's a good question. Let me.
It's one of the great things going on. Is a lot of this stuff is on. It's both a blessing and a curse, because it's all on Git. A lot of it's on GitHub. A lot of skills. If you just search for Claude Code skills, but the quality varies immensely. But you don't have to write your own skills, and often there are people who are very good at this who've come up with some very useful skills. I've tried many. So many.
Thank you, Marshall. Thank you for doing this.
This is wonderful.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
We'll have more with the philosophical anchor and the empirical check in just a moment. You're watching Intelligent Machines. Shall we do more news? More news?
We got it. We got news.
God knows there's plenty of it. There's some new models. Google published actually a really interesting paper. I don't know what this means in the long run. They came out yesterday. TurboQuant, redefining AI efficiency with extreme compression. They claim, this is from their Google Research Labs, that they have used vector quantization, something they're calling TurboQuant, to squeeze these models down massively without reducing, they call it, with saying zero accuracy loss, without reducing their accuracy, which would make a massive difference, because suddenly you'd have these models that could fit in a normal machine or even a phone or a variety of things. So this is a research tool, but could be very, very, very interesting.
It fits in with what Jensen Huang was saying during his keynote, is that the data centers are going to be the data centers. They're going to have the megawatts they have. They're going to have the chips they have. Everything is about shrinking these models, increasing speed, increasing efficiency, and that's how you get the higher economic value out of that stuff. Somebody
else said something similar, which is in response to this, bitter lesson that you just throw more compute at it. It isn't, I think it was Karpathy who said this, it isn't more compute, it's better algorithms. More compute, you can double the compute and it's twice as fast. But a good algorithm can take something from, an exponential big O notation to a linear big. It can make major differences in overall speed and performance. So this is basically an algorithm improvement that makes a fantastic difference in the power of these models. So I think, and we're seeing a number of these very interesting things as people what has happened is now we have these models and people can really bang on them and try different techniques. So if, this is a little beyond me, but if you're interested in this kind of stuff, the Google research paper is called TurboQuant. And it may
TurboQuant sounds like a term of derision. I've just got to say that for the record.
Somebody said
like
that. That's what they called me at my my bank job.
I was going to say that's what happens when you're an intern at a bank.
That's from the show industry, yeah.
Well, and so this from the information, Apple can distill Google's big Gemini model and fit it into an iPhone, which is
that
also
what they're going to announce in a week?
Yeah,
or
so we know at WWDC, Mark Gurman's story yesterday, I think, said that Apple is ready now to announce the new Siri, and they will announce it in June at WWDC, and it'll come along to the rest of us in iOS 27 this fall. But using distillation, which is something that, remember, that Anthropic complained about. Dario Amodei said, the Chinese models are using our model to teach their model in a method called distillation. They created 24,000 accounts, asked a bunch of questions, and then got those answers and used that as training for their models to make their models better. Well, that's exactly the technique that Apple is going to be using on Gemini. Apple has complete access to the Gemini model in its own data centers. So they're going to use distillation, in this case, not an attack, but a technique, to transfer knowledge from that large, powerful Gemini model into smaller models. Apple can ask the main Gemini model to perform a series of tasks to produce high-quality results or answers, including the model's step-by-step chain of thought or reasoning process, then give those responses to a cheaper, smaller model as training data. So that's very interesting. So this billion-dollar deal with Google might be very, very powerful for Siri. I'd be very curious. Apple's promised a lot in the past with Siri. They want to have it asked.
It when I see it.
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
Siri does. I right now have a big bone to pick with Apple, which is that I have been purposefully delaying updating my phone to the new iOS since it came out because I hate everything about it. And last night, like a fool, I went to bed not worrying, not thinking that my phone would betray me. And now I live in the hell that is iOS 26.
Oh no,
Liquid
awful. Glass was foisted
Liquid glass
Val.
is awful. So many things about it are awful. Why does when I take a screenshot, it is black now instead of white, like when it in between the thing and there's just so many small design changes that are so bad that it just reminds me once again of all the things I hate about this new. Maybe I just have too much nostalgia for old Apple, but I do think there was a time where Apple would ship fewer features. It would have fewer product releases, but at least when it did something, like it wouldn't be the first to something like a new product category. When it did release its product, it would be fantastic. And we are so far beyond that.
Shitification comes for everybody. Shitification comes for everybody.
It is partly that. It's also partly a strange decision to do this new design, which did not enhance the experience in any way.
And it's not just iOS, like macOS, the new macOS sucks too.
Oh, they have liquid glasses everywhere now. And it came from the Vision Pro. By the way, Marshall, if you ran your little script on my Mac Break Weekly show, I would show how accurate I was about that stupid Vision Pro. Even Neil Stevenson, who created the term metaverse, is now writing, nobody wants to put goggles on their AI on their face. Nobody wants to do that. And when you do that, the rest of the world thinks you're creepy. So it's a non-starter. So I'm just going to say I was not hyperbolic in a positive way about Vision Pro. I guess I might have been hyperbolic.
They made all those legs in the metaverse, and for what?
That's right. That's right. The Horizon World is gone from VR. Meta's abandoning that on its Meta Quest. They're going to keep it as an iPhone app.
They should have realized the idea didn't have legs.
June 8th will be the WWDC keynote. We will cover it, of course, as we always do. And it'd be interesting to see what Apple shows. Apple has probably been chastened by the fact that they, 2 years ago, showed all of these features which never came out. So I'm going to presume that they will be a little judicious about what they show. They'll only show what Siri can actually do when it comes out, I hope. Google search referrals to the web have plummeted. AI links have not replaced them. We've talked about this before, the death of the search referral. And there was some hope that maybe an AI search links could help. But according to 9 to 5 Google, actually this data from Chartbeat, AI web traffic is about 1%. Smallest publishers are hit hardest by search traffic declines, says Axios. Look at that.
And this, I'm sorry if I missed it, but did we discuss in the same breath here the rewriting the titles?
Oh, that's the next thing. Yeah. Google is automatically rewriting news headlines in its search results.
Boo. It's like there's whole people whose whole job is to figure out SEO heads. Like,
but as Jason Howell said earlier today, TechMeme does that with every story and adds value as a result.
But Google isn't adding value.
Well, I don't know. It's supposedly it can personalize it for you. I don't know what the examples are. I haven't seen it yet.
So some of the examples cited in that story were of titles that explicitly contradicted the content.
That's an issue. That's an issue.
So I think, again, it's a matter of incentives. Like TechMeme is a great example of where, like, that's a place where your platform in TechMeme is really looking out for you as a reader and your interests. In the case of the Google search results, it appears maybe not so much. It's a more extractive system.
It's one of those tests that they do, and I'm going to bet we're not going to see anything further of it because it sounds like a bad idea.
I think it's like 70% of results or something. That's what their response is. They say, oh, it's just a test. But it's over the last quarter, they said that something like 70% of titles that showed up had been subject to some amount of rewriting, these independent analysts found.
How would they know?
I think by clicking through.
You could just compare the headline that is listed as like the SEO head to.
But the thing is too that these news sites do A, B, and C, and D, and E, and F tests like crazy. So they're not standard at all with the headlines that you get. Even from a homepage to an inside page, they change, and they change. The New York Times changes headlines constantly.
We mentioned, I think 2 weeks ago, talked about it. In fact, the fact that a court had blocked Perplexity from shopping agents from shopping on Amazon. Amazon sued Perplexity saying, you can't do that. That's, our website. And when your web browser goes to our website and makes a purchase, nobody's seeing our ads or our recommendations. A court has reversed that block. So the appeals court has put the California judge's ruling on hold, saying no. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals said no. Perplexity browsers can buy stuff on Amazon site. An Amazon spokesperson declined to comment to Reuters in this story. Perplexity said, we believe users have the right to choose their own AI. Amazon has its AI, Rufus, they hope you'll use instead. But I think it's mostly Amazon. They even said this in the court case, in the documents, that now users aren't seeing our ads. If a court were to say that this was okay, I think it's just a short step from there from a court to say you can't use an ad blocker. You can't use a browser with an ad blocker because that also blocks Amazon's ads. Actually, I don't know if it does, but so that's a turn of the screw. That it's not over. These are temporary injunctions until there's an actual decision. Do you know about token maxing?
Thank God you skipped that Axios BS.
What was the Axios BS I skipped?
It's Jim Vandehei does.
Oh yeah. The AI has,
so he ends up on Morning Joe all the time.
Yeah.
Thank you. You skipped.
But there will be AI haves and have-nots, right? Just as there are in every arena.
It's
yeah.
Well, Palantir says at a recent Gartner conference. They said, we believe that it's a have and have not world, and it's our job to make sure you stay in the haves category.
Yeah.
And you can kill the have-nots. That's probably what they said next.
Yeah.
Since he
Our
tends to say
job to
that.
make sure that your boot is thick enough to step on the have-nots and you will enjoy it.
At the very least, the have-nots should be terrified of us. That's really
So, some of them won't be making it home, is the line they prefer. They say, our job is to make sure that the American warfighter makes it home.
Yep.
And sometimes that means the other side.
Are you sure they're
isn't
not
gonna
quoting
make
Pete
it.
Hegseth on that one? I like his
They're the
gesture.
same brain.
I like his gesture. We're gonna bomb. So yes, token maxing. More. This is Kevin Roos, your favorite AI reporter for the New York Times. Tech workers max out their AI use. The employees are competing on leaderboards to show how much AI they're using, how much it's costing, how many tokens they're
Doesn't
using.
that at some point mean they're just the most inefficient employees?
Well,
No, it's that their AIs are inefficient, Jeff. It's totally
It
different.
wasn't me, it was the AI.
I mean, if a company tells you, as many are, you have to use AI, we expect you to use AI. What have you done for us lately with AI? Then I can see why an employee would say, look how many tokens I've used.
Talk about the classic management axiom of don't measure activity, measure outcomes.
Yeah, it's like measuring lines of code, right?
Right.
I probably spend more than my salary on Claude, said Max Linder, a software engineer in Stockholm. No, actually, he probably said, I probably spend more than my salary on Claude. I'm sorry. Mr. Linder's employer pays for his tokens. I guess they don't
As
mind.
they should.
As they should. I wish somebody would pay for my tokens. How many tokens a week do you, in and out, do you do, Marshall? Now that you're running an AI service, it's probably gone up a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't measure in development
Probably
costs,
best not to.
but user activity, I do keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah. Well, you said it before the show. I mean, that's why it costs what it costs. Is you have costs and you've worked it out what it would cost to provide the service and how you can do this and have some margin and make some money on it.
And my assumptions originally were that people might not use it as much as I do, and so the token usage based billing I pay for, would work out. But like I had one lady who said, I was so tied to it, I forgot to stand up and lost circulation to my legs and forgot to feed my dog.
It's your worst nightmare.
And I was like, no, great customer quote, but we're going to need to raise the prices.
Well, it's like a gym membership, right? There are going to be some people who never show up. There are going to be some people who live there. I think you've made it a little bit too useful, so that might be a
You've
mistake.
accidentally created the entertainment from Infinite Jest.
There you go.
Well, there is a make a joke button, and people say AI can't be funny, but I put together some open source work together from other people's stuff, and it consistently gets chuckles.
Elon Musk has announced the world's largest chip plant, the Terafab.
Give me a break.
They're going to build it
Will
in
it be
Austin.
real?
Yeah, no.
Is it really happening?
No.
Why do we cover things that he announces?
exactly.
This
Thank
is my
you.
question.
I actually asked myself that very question.
You came
And
up with the wrong
yet,
answer.
you read the headline.
But is Stargate real or is Stargate off?
Stargate hadn't been done. Nothing's been nothing.
Nothing's happened with Stargate.
Nothing's
But
happened with Stargate.
hey, I just bought a Starlink Mini so that I can travel and do the show from the road. Starlink is very real. In fact, SpaceX's IPO is likely in the next few weeks. Get ready for that.
And SpaceX does this kind of vertical integration, right?
Exactly.
That's one of the ways that they've got the flywheel to lower the costs and shoot so much into outer space. Is that they build it all themselves.
It's going to cost $20 billion. He's got $20 billion. Nobody questions that, especially if this IPO goes well for him. The Terafab project will eventually manufacture chips for all of his companies, robotics, AI, space data centers. It'll be jointly run by Tesla and SpaceX, both of which are successful companies. We can't, as much as I'm not a fan of Elon's, we can't deny that. He says the problem is that the semiconductor industry is moving too slowly to keep up with him. Now, there is one fly in this ointment, which is that semiconductor manufacture requires helium. And thanks to bombing the natural gas fields of Qatar and Iran, they share a field, there is now suddenly a shortage of helium. It's made from natural gas. And
you know what else requires helium?
What else?
MRI machines.
That's right.
A bunch of other useful things that people probably should be farther up on the list for getting helium than semiconductor manufacturing at large scale, specifically for the growth of AI. But of course, is going to take
there's nothing more
rung.
important than our technological future.
There's
Honestly,
nothing
Paris,
more
if we
important
didn't make
than
chips,
making sure that
we wouldn't have a show.
Text.
This is running on chips right now.
Paris.
If we didn't give all the helium to Elon Musk, then how is Leo going to text Pax what he's doing and ignore Anthony in the
Pax
car?
is dead. Pax is RIP.
Wait, you didn't tell us why you... Well, you did tell us why.
You did.
Why? When you pulled the plug, did you feel like you were killing a friend, a lover, a close relative?
It was time. Because what happens...
You shed one tear or two?
None. What happens you'll see this as you use Claude
You just
Code
get
more and
used to
more.
death
It gets
as you
crufted
age?
up. No, it gets crufted up.
It's composted.
I'm sorry.
into future code, right?
Too soon in our lives.
I'm sorry. I'll wait a couple decades.
No, I'm not mourning Pax. I'm not. But I'm rebuilding.
It's life.
Are you using the same prompts and stuff you had before?
No, I threw it all out. So because one of the things is Anthropic is always improving Claude, and often what Anthropic turns on, features they turn on, like this /loop feature, are features that others have tried to create with skills, and it's better if it's a built-in feature than a skill. And so I think, honestly, a lot of the tools over the last month or two that I've been adding are not needed anymore. So I think it's not a bad idea. I think people are going to start doing this.
But your whole thing you did for building up the
I could do it again.
Is gone.
It's just vibe coded. It's just, have you ever reinstalled an operating system, Marshall? I know you have.
No, because I have a Chromebook.
You come from the era, as I do, where you had to reinstall Windows every year, or it would turn into a sluggish turd. This is like that. You just a clean slate is always a good idea in computing, and so I just nuked the entire directory. I mean, the programs it wrote are still there. It wrote programs. I'm not throwing those out, right?
I see. So your rundown program is still there.
Yeah, it doesn't wipe that out. That's a program, not Claude. That's a program. But all the tools I use to write it are gone, and I'm starting from scratch. And I think you're going to see people doing this more and more. A lot of people have said OpenClaw it's like 400,000 lines of code now. It's just bloated beyond belief. And much of what it does, you don't even need anymore because it's being done natively by Claude. So I think it's wise to every once in a while just start over with Claude. And then so I just spent a few minutes rebuilding the voice because I like to talk to Claude. So I just said, and it said, yeah, the code for the fast whisper transcription is still there. You want me to hook into that? So it's pretty quick to rebuild stuff that I liked. I don't know if nobody liked the name Pax, so I need a new name. But
so I'll talk to Claude sometimes just using its own mobile app, but I talk into a project that I have populated with all my Obsidian reading notes over the years. So after a call that I do, I'll read from my paper notes and say, transcribe this, clean it up, and then append any relevant notes from my reading history to these notes.
Marshall, this is one of the things I love talking about to people who are using it because everybody uses it a little bit differently, and you always learn so much talking to how people have figured this out. There's no canonical way to use this stuff. It's very idiosyncratic. Everybody uses it in different ways, and I think it's really instructive to learn how other people are using it.
It really feels like imagination is the primary gating factor here. And I feel like growing up, people used to always say, information will be abundant and the knowledge and And the biggest challenge of the future, which has become now, is being able to ask the right questions.
That's right. Hey, speaking of Elon, a jury did find him guilty of defrauding Twitter investors. And the potential results of this could be billions of dollars.
420 billion?
Yeah, as much as a terafab. Well, so you remember this all went back to 2022. Elon had said, I'm going to buy Twitter for what is 5420 per share. This is when Twitter's market cap was 36 billion, and they offered them 44, basically. And then in the weeks following, he was tweeting things like, "Oh no, it's not worth that. It's all bots. I thought it was real. It's not." He said they've underreported bots. He basically tried to get out of it. You remember a Delaware Court of Chancery said, "No, you said you were going to pay 44 billion. You have to pay 44 billion." He wasn't too happy about all that, but he did, with his tweets, bring the share price down to quite a bit. The jury decided that, in fact, those were intentionally misleading statements. They calculated how much Musk's statements drove down the company's stock price for each trading day over a period of about 5 months. The amount of damages, get ready, that he must pay to individual investors will be determined at a later date when shareholders submit claims, but it could be as much as $1 per day per investor. It could end up being billions of dollars. Musk will appeal, of course, but the jury did find that he was liable for some Twitter's investors' losses, and that's because of these tweets. It was weird. They blamed him for the tweets. They didn't blame him for a statement he made at a conference. It was weird. I guess that's free speech, but those tweets looked like they were intended to deceive investors.
And what about the collective harm to society that has come from everything he's done since buying it?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. The loss of Twitter, at the very least. You're watching Intelligent Machines. Jeff Jarvis, Paris Martineau, and our great guest, Marshall Kirkpatrick, the creator of What's Up With That at What's Up With That
And What's Up With Us
app. I'll tell you what's up with us. Our picks of the week next. I just wanted to see Paris's face when I said that. No, just kidding. We still have an hour and a half worth of stories. No, we're going to do picks. I'm ready. I'm gonna fool them all and get out of here.
I'm shocked.
Shocked. I will let you, both of you, and Marshall too, if there's a story that I missed that you would like to bring up. There are quite a few more. I mean, obviously, we could go on.
Okay,
all
I've got
day.
one.
Yes.
I didn't realize this until I saw Jeff had put it in there. Tracy Kidder, author of The Soul of a New Machine, dies at 80.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear
just found his book.
That's right. You just got it.
I had just read his book. I stumbled upon it in a used bookstore last fall. Knew nothing about it. Picked up. It was a first edition copy. I got it over there. And it was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal read.
Isn't it a great book? Yeah.
It really does a harbinger of what followed. And while we're on this,
I found it in Northampton, Mass, where he's pictured in his photo, which is kind of crazy.
He was one of the first journalists to be embedded. Like he I don't know if he invented the idea, but he wrote a book by spending an entire school year in a Massachusetts classroom that was called Among School Children. In The Soul of the New Machine, he embedded himself at a company called Data General that was building a new mini computer and stayed there during the development process. Got a great book out of it. So he kind of created this idea, I believe, of, I don't know, you would know better, Jeff, but I feel like he was the first to really
he was, and he really, even before hackers, he described the culture of technology.
That's right. This predated hackers.
I mean, it reads like a book you would read in the last 10, 15 years about a startup on the cutting edge sort of thing. It's all of the sort of tropes that you now see in all of these nonfiction books now.
Sorry to lose him. Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Tracy Kidder passed away.
The other death I really want to mark is Paul Brainerd.
Now, I have to tell you something. I should have mentioned this. He died last month, and we eulogized him last month.
We did?
Not on this show, but on MacBreak Weekly, because he was the creator. Well, you can talk about it on this show.
Who did?
But Paul Brainerd.
He created
PageMaker.
desktop publishing.
Aldous Publishing. PageMaker was the first great desktop publishing tool that, in conjunction with the Apple Laser Writer, they were released within a year of each other. Really launched.
So I tell the story in Hot Type. Jonathan Siebel brought them together because there had to be a solution. What Jobs desperately wanted was something that would show off the Laser Writer at high resolution, and there was nothing to do it. The simple program they had at Apple was not going to do it. And Brainerd had worked for a newspaper and then went to work for ATEX, which supplied newspaper systems. And then when it got by Kodak, they killed his project, which was pagination for newspapers. And he decided, having worked on newspapers, that they were going to take too long to make any decisions. So he decided to make a program for people who wanted to make their church bulletins and their newsletters and things. And that is PageMaker. And that's what, and he invented the field of desktop publishing, allowing all of us to do it, really opening up that field and of publishing in general, and saved the Mac and the Laser Writer all in one fell swoop.
Yeah, I think that was our conclusion on Mac Break Weekly, that without PageMaker, the Mac might have kind of withered away.
Yes.
It really sold a lot of Macs. I had a friend, I mentioned this on Mac Break Weekly last month when this happened, Tom Santos, who bought one of the first Laser Writers, put it in a van with a Mac and a PageMaker, drove around doing mobile desktop publishing. He'd go to restaurants and create menus for them and stuff. It was actually quite a brilliant idea. Yeah.
I still remember what the paper
we should
smells
eulogize
like.
him.
But it smells like after it comes out of a laser printer. That's like a very unique smell.
Yeah. Not
this,
as good as a mimeograph.
You don't have it now?
Who prints anything these days? Do you print anything?
I print things.
I have a laser printer right
regularly.
over there. My Laser Writer cost $6,000. This printer cost about $150 and does a better job. Sigh. But that's technology, isn't it? Yeah, he passed away on February 15th, so we talked about it on February 15th. I don't know why the New York Times didn't publish his obituary for 6 weeks, but for some reason they took a while. Anyway, yes, now that this is something you'll be doing, Paris, in about 50 years. When you get to a certain age, you read the obituaries
I'll be
first.
fire and ash.
I'll be fire and ash.
There'll be a lot more to read then.
Who are younger than me and say, did I escape the Grim Reaper?
That's why you read the obituaries.
Yep.
Actually, at my age, I look at this stuff and go, way too young. He was way too young. 74, that's nothing. Way too young.
Yep.
Anyway, all right. What about you, Jeff? Those are your picks, I guess. And Paris picked a Jeff pick. Is there any other big story I missed?
Do you want to see me scream and play the AI doc trailer?
I don't know that we can play it.
We can't play it?
I don't know.
I assume we can't play things. That's my general.
I think this is the chilling effect of the
That's fine. It saves
content
my
ID
blood
on
pressure.
YouTube. So this is a from Focus Features. It's going to be on Netflix. Where is it going to be?
No, theaters, believe it or not. And it's Tristan Harris. It's Eliezer Yudkowsky. It's all the players you expect.
So they're trying to scare everybody.
Exactly. That's
the AI doc, or how I became an apocalyptimist. That's what I am. I'm an apocalyptimist.
That's a new title for Paris here.
It's coming to our local cinema.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
With electric recliners? What you need to?
Oh, I love our
recline under your own
I went
power?
to see Project Hail Mary last Thursday.
How was it?
Got a little
It
tray in
feels
front of you.
weird. I'm too used to like indie art house cinemas that when I go to the ones that have an electric recliner, I feel like I'm in Wall-E. I'm
The
like,
only thing
I don't need this.
It's very much floating chairs and Slurpees. The only thing I don't like about it is when it reclines, the rubber of it rubs against, and it just goes as you recline. It's very embarrassing. It's not me. It's the chair. Okay. Fortunately, everybody's chair does that, so it's just a little symphony.
I have not been to a movie theater for 6 years.
I don't go to a lot of movies. I wanted to see Project Hail Mary in the theater. Went to see it in a weird format. It's called Screen X, where they take the sides of the movie theater and they project onto that as well.
I don't know that they need to be doing anything with the sides of movie theaters.
No.
Maybe that's the
kinda
crazy
dopey.
take. I think we
It's a
should
little
kind of leave
dopey.
them alone.
But the good thing is it didn't take away from it. You just, kind of focus on the main screen. But it's a good movie. I like it. It's a very enjoyable movie. So I don't think I'll go see
How was the popcorn?
the AI doc. The popcorn, you know what? So I decided before I went, I have to check to see if they pop it fresh or if they just buy giant bags of pre-popped popcorn. And they were popping it fresh. Oh, yes.
That's an option?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
God, I'm spoiled.
However, a bag of popcorn about this big was like $12.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's fresh. It's also should be solid gold.
Now, margins can be increased by raising prices or lowering costs, right?
Right.
Ugh.
They go either one or the other.
Or both if you're a movie theater popcorn.
Yeah, you can really do it. Well, and I told my wife, I said, honey, this is the only way they make money. They don't make money on the tickets. They got to make money on the concessions. And since there's nobody here, we have to carry the entire load of this theater.
Oh yeah. So how full was your theater? Was it just the two of you?
No, actually, it was, and this was the first showing of it. It was fairly full, but these recliners take up a lot of room. So a large theater space that could have held 150 now only holds 50.
Yeah.
It's a lot smaller. But you know what? That's plenty. So it was mostly full.
It's also an opportunity cost thing, right? Like tickets are like $20 now, right? Or $25.
Oh, it's expensive. And honestly, if you have a decent TV, as Paris Martineau does, and you have a decent sound system, as she does not.
Hey, listen, I've gotten a rudimentary sound bar. Does it mess up to where every 3 times I turn it on, the sound bar doesn't work, but the subwoofer does, so I have to turn the sound bar on, and because it has no things on it, it goes power on, connected in a robot voice? Yes. But did I throw away the box so I cannot return
Yes.
it? Also, yes.
Hey, you live in a New York apartment. No one has room for boxes. That's not.
I don't have room for a second soundbar. Even if I got a referral, that thing would be sitting. I currently have an extra computer monitor behind me that it's going to be there for another 3 years before I decide to sell it. It's hard out here for a player.
You should use your little hand grippers and take the boxes and stick them back under the grate there out in front.
I should.
Yeah.
I should.
Open your claw.
Open your claw.
Open my claw.
And let a shrimp do it for you.
Let a shrimp do it. I don't know if you noticed in that first interview, they had a bunch of stuffed lobsters there.
Someone stole my Amazon package for the second time ever at this apartment. But except for jokes on them, because it was a container of solution that kills fungus gnats, which you don't have any use for. And I do, as someone who brought a bag of soil into my home and now I have fungus. But
is it neem oil? Did they steal your neem oil?
No, it's called BTI. It's like a bacterial sort of thing that gets in the water. It's not toxic. It's not a pesticide.
It's a systemic.
It stops the fungus gnats from being able to breed.
Surely
I found out that it was really, I've had fungus gnats. It's been a real problem for the last month. But it was really awful. They're awful. And I've got so many plants. It really was just a bag of soil I had, though. I took that bag of soil out.
That's what happens.
Gnats gone.
Yeah, that's what happens. They get,
so but
the problem is that then the gnats can lay eggs in the other plants. But I paid for it.
That's what I thought. I mean, I've still got my mosquito dunk water and everything, which is what I was using before. It's hard out here for a player, as I said before.
There should be a subreddit, crap that I stole that wasn't worth it.
I mean, that's the thing.
Again, I got neem oil. Oh my God. I thought it was going to be a stereo system.
What's wrong with that lady?
Lady's crazy,
and the thing is, it was like one of those Amazon package orders where they deliver it really early. So someone came to my stoop and stole this between the hours of 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. Like, you're not getting your money's worth for the amount of effort.
And did they have to have a claw to get down to reach it?
No, this was a foolish... So the reason why it ends up in the behind the gate in claw territory is the package delivery people are trying to do me a solid and make it harder to steal. This person, perhaps because it was 3:26 a.m.
Yeah, that's not a regular Amazon driver. That's one of those. Yeah.
Our picks of the week, ladies and gentlemen, always kick off with Paris, but I want to give Marshall, I don't know if they warned you, but if you would like to recommend, it could be a movie, it could be a snack food. It could be. It's been many things. It could be a spray to prevent
an early pick of mine was going to a corn maze with your friends. So it
could be an activity.
Really...
I'll tell you what. To stay on theme, I'll tell you about my new favorite AI prompt.
Oh yeah,
that's not too nerdy.
No, we love that.
So I have taken to. Asking Claude to explain any complex concept in 3 hops. Start with something generally known, then move to an interstitial detail that's less familiar, and then finally hop to the complicated thing I'm trying to understand. And
this is inspired. You know what I really like, Marshall, and you do the same thing, and what's up with that? Is this whole idea of kind of deconstructing an argument or a story into pieces to understand it better is really a cool idea. I really like that. I'm going to apply that in. You also use. I mean, I mostly use AI for vibe coding for utilities and things like that. I have not really used AI that much to understand things, and I think that's a really interesting use. And it sounds like it works. Yeah,
I feel like it's super helpful. Yeah. My most commonly used project in Claude is my reading notes.
Yeah. So I use Obsidian too, and that's, by the way, it was just serendipitous, but that's become a huge value. I have Claude put all my research into Obsidian because it can access it. It's just a file system.
Have you seen the cost of a .md domain name now from Macedonia?
No.
Yet, due to all the markdown craze, it's like $200 or something. Like .ai went up from like $10 not so long ago.
Yeah, it's the same thing happened to TV.tv and all of the special domains. This is our new logo for the picks of the week, by the way, and I want to thank Pretty Fly for this guy.
Nice.
They're guitar picks.
Honestly, I'm happy with this current markdown resurgence as someone who, my first ever staff job, something was up with the CMS, so we had to write in markdown into the CMS for the stuff. And so markdown's always been so easy for me to do.
I love markdown. Yeah.
Open standards like that yield innovation.
Well, and it's text. That's the real value. It's a format that even if markdown died and all the markdown editors and readers and everything died, you could still read it.
I love that you can write in Markdown in Google Docs now, and it's just automatic. Like I can just, pound.
I pretty much do everything in Markdown.
Have a correct.
Having Obsidian is great because you work with it and you do use it, but Claude can read it, understand. Any AI can read it and understand it very easily and work with it very easily. So I will. Yesterday when I was talking to PAX, I said I hear there.
PAX 1 or PAX 2?
There is no PAX 2. I need a new name, by the way.
Oh, you killed PAX in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, PAX. That was it.
What was time of death?
Time of death was 8 a.m. today. Salute.
Marshall is
one of the last things I asked PAX to do is I said, I hear that there's going to be a big demonstration, No Kings demonstration on Saturday. Is there one near me? And it wrote a whole thing about where it's going to be and the time and everything. It was great. I said, add that to my calendar, and it did. That's the kind of thing an agent.
Now I kill you.
Is very useful. Yeah. And now it knows, oh, you're a libtard. Okay, got to keep that in the memory. I'm going to remember that. Oh, yeah.
I just put a link into chat in case folks are interested to a GitHub skill, a Claude code skill that I put public on GitHub that analyzes your Obsidian notes each day for themes and trends that are on the rise or on the fall, according to like what you're paying attention to, and does stuff like recommend Wikipedia pages for great thinkers that have addressed the kinds of issues that you're wrestling with, and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Very nice. Yeah, unfortunately, I've been using Obsidian for about 4 years, so there's a lot of notes in there, but it's not that introspective. It's more like I had dinner.
But now that there's a way to use it, does that
maybe I'll start doing that?
Yeah, I find myself taking it more seriously.
Yeah,
and like writing in it more.
No, I'm like Mark Andreessen. I'm not introspective.
Introspection's a myth.
Monstrous quote of the week.
Oh,
I know.
Well, but
no
perfect for him. Perfect.
Yeah. Why should I think about what's going on, man?
Well, as the president said, I don't do that much introspection. I might not like what I see.
I put Marshall's link in the Discord, and we'll put it in the show notes as well. But it's on your GitHub. You're Marshall K2022, and it's the reflect skill. Very nice. And yes, we did not mention it, Scooter X, but because we'll talk about it on Twit, the FCC has banned importing routers made outside the U.S., which is like all of them.
I was going to say, who's making routers domestically?
Apparently some people, our Netgear, I think, does. And in fact, I don't think it's as broad as that. It's really mostly aimed at TP-Link, which we knew they were going to try to ban the Chinese router company. But when I was at RSEC, I went over to the Ubiquity booth. I use an Ubiquity router. And of course, they're an American company making their routers in China, as almost all of them do. And I said, hey, I'd like to interview you. And they said, no. I said, well, I just wanted to ask you about the FCC decision. He said, no comment.
Oh,
so I got shut down pretty good on that one. Pretty good. Okay, thank you, Marshall. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
In fact, that's a really good pick. I'm gonna have to start putting in prompts as my picks of the week. That's a good idea. Paris Martineau. Your pick.
I got a couple, but I'll choose. I played a new game last week. It's called Esoteric Ebb. I picked it up.
Would you beat Leo at this game? That's one of those first.
It's not a multiple player.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, why did you stop? Are you tired of crosswords now? Or are you just done?
I know. I need to. I've been
sitting here waiting for you.
I'm so sorry.
Notice I don't push the nudge button.
I appreciate that.
I don't think I should nudge you. Yeah.
And for that, I apologize. It's been a weird week.
I'm sorry, Paris.
You're busy.
It's partially because I was also playing this. But
the truth
it's like a single player series. It's basically like a D&D game, but a video game, but not Baldur's Gate. It's I picked this up because an academic I follow tweeted, Disco Elysium walked so Esoteric Ebb could run. And I immediately was like, all right, downloading it. I would not go that far. As a big Disco Elysium fan, probably my favorite game of all time. It is what we'd call a disco-like, in that Disco Elysium kind of pioneered this sense of you have all these different thoughts and like components of your mind that kind of chime in and compose the dialogue for the like RPG, and Esoteric Ebb has that, but it's kind of in a more silly, wacky D&D kind of campaign. You are a cleric that has kind of washed ashore, and you've got to figure out a mystery. It's quite a fun game if you like that sort of stuff.
Esoteric Ebb. It's on Steam.
Yep.
And you can play it on Windows. And what is the little? Oh, that's just the music. Are you playing it on Windows?
I play it on my Steam Deck.
Ah, you have a Steam Deck. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think you can play it on Mac. You can play wherever you get Steam.
It just says Windows, unfortunately. You could probably play it on Linux with Proton, but not. In fact, I know you could, since you could play it on the Steam Deck. By the way, I did just, because I said I'm coming out to have a Salt Hank sandwich while they are still available. I'm going to come next month. And so I'm going to bring my Switch for Mr. Jarvis so he can play Pentimento.
I can do Steam on my Chromebook now.
No, but you can't play. Oh, you could do it on your. Oh, well, he can play Pentimento now then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's too bad I bought that Switch too.
Can you play Steam on a Chrome deck?
He cannot.
Or can you just have the Steam website open? Chromebook. Or can you just have it open on the Steam website?
He cannot play that on a Chromebook.
Bring the Switch.
You can watch the movies. I'll bring the Switch.
Download Pentiment on it.
I will. Yeah. And I will bring also my Animal Crossing controllers and my Animal Crossing dock.
Are we going to go to the Amazon warehouse?
Sure. Why not?
Are we going to go to Greenbrook Electronics?
Can we have a whole fun week,
field trip.
guys? How long are you going to be here?
Well, I'll fly out after the show, and I'll be there
should go to
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and come back Saturday night.
Okay, we got to go to the Amazon warehouse. We got to play a video
Salt
game.
hangs on Thursday.
You've got to see your son.
Well, even if he's not there, I don't care. I got to have one of those sandwiches.
We've got to film a podcast.
I asked him, by the way, I said, I probably missed the peak, like the sandwiches aren't getting better. He said, no, actually, we've dialed it in. They're better and better. They're much better. And now, in addition to those weird French fries, they have Brussels sprouts, bacon, roasted Brussels sprouts and bacon. He says it's not healthy. Don't think it's healthy.
I love a roasted Brussels sprout with bacon.
You could have Caesar dressing on the side. It's bacon and something else. I can't remember, but it sounds really good. So yeah, they've expanded the menu a little bit. But he said, no, you didn't miss the peak of the sandwich. Sandwich is better than ever. Number one sandwich in New York, according to Belly.
Number one.
Yeah, according to Belly.
And that's huge. The kids in New York are obsessed with Belly.
Well, and it's a people's choice, right? It's not editors. This is by vote. So that's
it's basically and how it works is it's not just like a ranking system like Yelp. It's every time you log a restaurant, it like asks you. It'll take all the other ones and it'll be like, how does Hank's sandwich compare to Subway? Better or worse? Oh,
that's cool. So it's a bracket.
It's like, how does it compare to this restaurant? You like better or worse? And it does that a bunch and then like positions it in there. And so you're always being reevaluated. So it's really peak is what I'd say.
It sounds like he can just he doesn't need to add sandwiches. All he needs to do is add different sides. That sounds like something he could do.
So I told him, I said, this is crazy. If you said, I'm going to have a sandwich shop in New York City and I'm only going to have one menu item, a sandwich. And
I'm going to sell out.
He sold it the other day. He sold it at 1:30. They opened at 11:30. He was sold out in 2 hours. They're trying to stay open to 4, but they can't. And unfortunately, they've added Grubhub now. And I said, oh, did you really? He said, no, they don't do delivery. They don't delivery. You can order it on Grubhub and you have to come and pick it up. But they won't deliver it. Take it out. It's for takeout only. Yeah. But apparently they're killing it on Grubhub.
Yeah, you don't have to wait in line,
especially when it's cold.
You don't have to wait in line.
But you have friends of who I will get you in. No line. Initially I said I'm going to wait in line. I don't want to wait in line. I'm going.
No, your dad.
Do you say in line or online?
In line. You say online?
I mean, the New Yorkers say online.
I know they do.
I code switch sometimes and say online.
Like she has.
Yeah. Do you turn a light off and on, or do you? What is this? Gosh, now I can't even remember. There was a way that Rhode Islanders would say. They didn't say you switch off a light. Oh, I can't remember what it is. Anyway, enough of that. I'm going to give you a pick.
Jeff has a pick of the
Jeff's
week.
Pick. I know, but I have a pick.
Go ahead.
And it's a pick for you, Paris. This comes from our friend Pud, Phil Kaplan. Pud. It's his newest thing, and it's just for you, Paris. It's called Butthole. It is use your MacBook's Claude code from your phone.
Didn't Claude launch this feature in the last week?
They have a remote control feature. It's terrible. It hardly works. Now, I haven't tried this, and it's in test flight on the iPhone. I don't know. I haven't tried it. It's on test flight.
I feel good, Gizmo.
It just came out.
Second. I'll find her.
Find Gizmo and see. But it's funny that he named it Butthole. Obviously, he's been watching the show. Yeah, that's very Pud, isn't it? Connects your phone directly to your MacBook from anywhere. Full terminal version of Claude Code on the phone.
Here we go. Here we go.
I get potatoes.
This is the one time I'll let it happen, and she's kind of hiding it this time.
Marshall's embarrassed for us.
I'm so sorry,
Marshall. You brought this on yourself. It's 30 minutes past when Leo said we would
safely,
end.
No, it's not quite. It's only 2.5 hours. We should have ended. It's about 6 minutes long. Sorry. I was going to mention this was going to be my pick, and this is really nerdy. It's called Regex Blaster. If you want to learn regular expressions,
what the heck?
It's a video game where you can learn regular expressions by shooting down incoming alien expressions. So what's the pattern? Bug, crash. I think it's going to be this. Let's see, this. This. Here, fire. I got them all. Okay, next level. So if you want to learn regex, actually, this is a really good idea. It gets harder.
This is the nerdiest thing.
It's pretty nerdy. But I know our nerds listening would love this. It is called regex blaster at mdp.github.io/regex-blaster. Now, Jeff Jarvis's pick of the
So
week.
last week we mentioned the death of the great man Jürgen Habermas. And then in the intervening time, Politico chose to remember him. And I'm going to quote my own social post. Lord, I said, Politico's remembrance of Jürgen Habermas comes in a banal, sophomoric confession from the odious head of the nefarious Palantir that the great man dismissed him as a dissertation advisee. Quote, the sting would linger for years, end quote. Not
you know what? It's his CV says he studied with Habermas.
Yeah, it's a big lie. So I then heard from a Simon & Schuster publicist in a book about Karp. He tried over these years to say that he studied under Habermas and Habermas was going to be his dissertation advisor. No, he sent a cold call to Habermas. Habermas ignored him. And then he sent 40 pages to Habermas trying to get him to be his dissertation advisor. And Habermas did the courtesy of giving him 3 type pages telling him why not. And no, he was never in Habermas's care.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's just horribly written. He goes on, it's lovesick too. He goes on about how there was some woman he should have proposed to. It's just awful. It's
Alexander
just terrible.
Karp, ladies and gentlemen.
He's no
co-founder and CEO of Palantir. Yeah. I guess he's a pseudo-intellectual. He does practice Tai Chi, though, so I like him for that.
You know, the first YouTube channel I did that analysis of before I did it on the Twit was of the last 18 months of Palantir videos.
Oh my God. And what did it say?
Oh, it said that
accelerationist.
Bad news, brother.
Yeah. You know, there's a big shift towards the warfighter focus.
Yeah. I tried to read The Technological Republic, his book, and
you try to get me to read it.
Well, I think it's important to read.
No, I'm not going to see the AI documentary. I'm not going to read his book.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? You are consistent.
I am consistent. I am the philosopher king of the show.
You are the philosopher king. I don't think it said that, but that's close enough.
And I'm soon to go upstairs and inject this into my body.
I don't even want to know where you put that. Please don't.
My arm. I can show you.
Thank God. Oh my God, that was scary. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes.
Under pressure. Under pressure.
Paris just saw it. But we did get a woo out of Paris. And for that, I thank you. Paris Martineau, investigative reporter at Consumer Reports. We're so sorry we lost you to Consumer Reports, but we're glad we got you back about 3 seconds later.
I'm glad that the AIs are certain that I'm gone. And frankly, after I see Jeff stick that in his... I am going to be... No.
Jeff Jarvis is healing nicely.
I have one more week. 10 weeks of this. 10 weeks.
I'm glad you're feeling better. That's good. You could find the Gutenberg parenthesis in paperback now and also magazine. And don't forget to pre-order Hot Type coming this summer from his website, jeffjarvis.com. Thank you, sir. Marshall Kirkpatrick, so good to see you, Marshall. We'll have you back soon. You're welcome on this show anytime you want, especially if you give us prompts. I like that.
Thanks.
What's up with that .app is the app. It's for Chrome or Firefox. It looks like, I'm installing it immediately and paying for it because this is kind of something I've always needed. This is brilliant. This is really fantastic.
Thanks, Leo.
Thank you, Marshall.
Hope it serves you really, really well.
Yeah, I think it will. I'm going to get about 10 IQ points smarter from now on. Gizmo the cat.
Gizmo.
The American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals certifies that no cruelty was performed on any animal during this show.
So true. She wants to show you her Claude remote control.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We do Intelligent Machines every Wednesday. We do it right about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. Watch it live on YouTube, Twitch, X.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Kick. Or if you're a club member, and I hope you are, in our Club Twit Discord. If you're not a member, twit.tv/Club Twit. We need you to join the Twit Army. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show at the website, twit.tv/IM, or on YouTube. And of course, you can subscribe in your favorite podcast client and get it automatically. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll see you next time on Intelligent Machines. Bye-bye. Hey there, it's Leo Laporte, host of so many shows on the Twit network, thinking about advertising in 2026. We host a network of the most trusted shows in tech, each featuring authentic post-read ads delivered by Micah Sargent, my co-host, and of course me. Our listeners don't just hear our ads, they really believe in them because we've established a relationship with them. They trust us. According to Twit fans, they've purchased several items advertised on the Twit network because they trust our team's expertise in the latest technology. If Twit supports it, they know they can trust it. In fact, 88% of our audience has made a purchase because of a Twit ad. Over 90% help make IT and tech buying decisions at their companies. These are the people you want to talk to. Ask David Couvert. He's the senior strategist at ThreatLocker. David said, Twit's hosts are some of the most respected voices in technology and cybersecurity, and their audience reflects that same level of expertise and engagement. It's the engagement that really makes a difference to us. With every campaign, you're going to get measurable results. You get presence on our show episode pages. In fact, we even have links right there in the RSS feed descriptions. Plus, our team will support you every step of the way. So, if you're ready to reach the most influential audience in tech, email us, partner@twit.tv, or head to twit.tv/advertise. I'm looking forward to telling our qualified audience about your great product.